the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance company, providing services such as weekly lawn maintenance, driveway sweeping, snow and ice management, and tons more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located at 4th Avenue across from the old 4th Avenue Theater. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. From reindeer dogs to bomb euros, they've got you covered. Anchortown Dogs, your local gourmet hot dog and sausage cart.
Menegato's Accounting, locally owned and operated advisory and tax accounting solutions. Passion, experience, diligence. Learn more at menegatosaccounting.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made cider. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out at doubleshovelcider.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Yes. Fully synchronized.
Yep. Crispy.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the Alaska swimmer girl for winning the gold.
Nice, dude.
Yep.
From Alaska.
Good call.
She killed it.
Wow.
What's her name, though? Dang. Can we look it up real quick? We should definitely know her name.
Yeah. So today
Start talking about it.
during canning today, the guys are like, "Hey, look up, the Seward girl's in the race," and I was like, "Awesome," you know. So we watch it, and I'm jumping up and down, all excited. This other person walks into the back, like, "Oh, the last girl just won!" And then I find out like 20 minutes later, it was a recording, and every other person knew that she already won. It was hilarious.
It's a pretty big deal.
Did they try to bet you?
No. They just played it off. I was like, "Oh, there's this."
Yeah, definitely we'll get her name out, man. Shout out to her. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I know swimming, when I went to University of Tampa, swimming was like a really, really big thing there. Mm-hmm. And they were like high intense swimmers. And I just remember them being so fit and their own little squad, and to have someone from Alaska where, I mean, they got to swim every day outside. Every day outside in the pool, everyday practices. Whereas here it's like you're going into a dark, dingy, East High or wherever they're training to go swimming every day. That's a different grind to get up every morning and go inside to, West High School or wherever you're going versus the nice pool outside in Orlando or wherever you're from,
Yeah, swimming inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name? We got it?
Yeah. So Seward rips in joy as hometown swimmer Lydia Jacoby wins the Olympic gold medal.
Lydia Jacoby. From Seward.
Yeah.
At that.
of all places.
Wow.
So
So what?
cool.
So there must be at least one pool in Seward.
Oh, they just swim across Resurrection Bay.
Oh, that's no wonder she won. Dude.
That's why they're so fast.
But they're not allowed to swim. It's a
She's
cool
just a
down.
fish.
They can't swim until they run up Mount Marathon and come down. It's just a cool down.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
There you
All
go.
right.
It's pretty hardcore out there.
That's how they get it.
Yeah.
Well, definitely congratulations to her, man. Another Alaska Olympian. Correct. We have several.
Yeah.
We do.
I want to say Scotty Gomez is an Olympian. Didn't he get a bronze? I want to say he got a bronze, maybe
Okay.
U.S. bronze, maybe silver.
He definitely skated in the Olympics.
He definitely
I don't-
skated. I think they got the bronze, maybe.
At 2002, I think they got the silver, right? In Utah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We should actually look
Yeah.
that up really quick as well. Internet guy, could you look that up?
I'm working
and
on
then
it.
and then of course Keegan, Randall, probably the most famous Olympic athlete from
Definitely,
Alaska, right? For
yes.
cross country skiing.
Yeah.
And Tommy Moe.
Oh, Tommy Moe.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tommy
he
Moe.
might be the most.
Tommy
Jack-
Moe.
Tommy Moe was
Yeah.
definitely the first.
Yeah, Rachel Steer was a big deal too.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe let's pull up the list, of what
Yeah.
we got.
Alaskans who have won medals in the Olympics. So I'm
There you
pulling
go.
up this
Google it
article
up.
here.
Well, welcome to Alaska Wild Project episode number 22.
Deuce Deuce.
Deuce Deuce back in the house. We have a very special guest today, Mike Radford. Mike Radford is a pilot. He's a falconer. He is a beekeeper. He is a business owner. He is a lifelong Alaskan. We got a lot of good questions to ask Mike here in a little bit after we catch up with our days. Brandon,
Yes.
tell me about your weekend. I know that you went out to Lake Louise
I did.
for the weekend, and how was
did.
that?
It was fun, man. It was. I think we were talking about it earlier today. It was the most relaxing, non-hustle and bustle weekend that I've had all summer, and coincidentally, it's far. It's a long drive up there, so you spend 3 hours driving up, 3 hours driving back. 6 hours out of a Friday to Sunday is a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend a lot of time in the car, and what made it really cool was, my wife and I had the two little kids in the truck, and they were really good to drive up. They got a little squirrely on the drive back. Once we hit Palmer, they were kind of over it because Dad had to stop everywhere and glass the mountain for a sheep here and look for this, that, there.
Oh, the 3 hour drive turned into 5?
Yeah, well, the Friday I couldn't because we left at 7 and we needed to get there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to stop and look. I'm like, man. So I made sure and made some stops on the way back, and I drug it out a little bit. Finally, Rena's like, dude, that's it. Last stop. I'm
Game
like, all right. But no, we had a great trip. I went up Friday, and I think I saw 7 cars on the highway.
The whole way?
Because
Wow.
all 300,000 other cars were on the Kenai.
Going south, dip netting and stuff?
Yeah,
Net
yeah,
season.
I know I probably missed out. I asked my cousin who loves to dip net, and I was like, "Hey man, this would have been a good weekend to go." And he's like, "Let's just go to the cabin and chill." And I was like, "Oh man, that's music to my ears," So we drove up. It was quiet. The lake was really quiet. The lodge was quiet. I think they had done a 6 to 8 week run of just pure go with guests and people getting up to the lake. The weather's been pretty good, so folks were frequenting the lake to their cabins. There was tons of boats that were on their trailers parked. Mm-hmm. So we went down there for propane on Saturday, and I was like, what the heck? There ain't nobody here. The owner there, John, was like, yeah, this is the first weekend that we've actually got a break. And I'm like, man, we chose the right one to come up here because it was just a ghost town. But I liked it. We got away from all the chaos that was ensuing in South Central Alaska, and helped my cousin build a brand new dock that he purchased and brought all the material up to the lake. Just needed some extra muscle to help get it set up, so we got that set up for him. And our 2 daughters got to hang out with his daughter. I guess they're second cousins. Our first cousins, right?
Yeah.
Maybe second cousins. And they're all little girls, so they got to spend some really good time together, and we ate good and just chill, man. I just feel like there was no agenda. We went up there, we took our side-by-side, we rode around, we slept in, we stayed up late. I mean, it was just everything you could want from just a real relaxing weekend. So it was nice, man. I really enjoyed
That
it.
sounds like the opposite of my weekend.
What kind of dock did you go with?
was called a Polydoc. Was the brand? So
I think it was
They're
awesome.
like the no foam, like all plastic, sealed
like,
HDPE.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I'll pull up a picture and put it up here in a second. But it was a all plastic.
It almost reminds me like kind of the look of like a Trex deck kind of deal.
There you go. Okay,
is
very
the most
similar.
similarity.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what I thought was when you were showing me earlier, the coolest thing was the double jet ski like landing pad.
That thing was badass, dude.
Well, like
For
it's
sure.
connected to the dock, and you can put both jet skis,
Oh, sweet.
like just ride them
Yep,
up there, but
yep.
then it's like out of the water.
Yep.
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 It was really cool.
So it has
Yeah.
like an angled piece that drops
Yeah.
down,
Yeah,
like
he's
a
gonna-
ramp.
Yeah, I'll get it pulled up here. I just I got it
That's
coming up
cool.
on the computer. But yeah, so like it was a pain in the ass. There it is right there, Jack. If you guys look up on the TV there.
Oh yeah, that looks
Yeah,
sick.
so he had already built the part where the ramp. See the ramp going from the shore to there. He had already built where the two posts are. He'd already built that midsection and put those end pieces on with the cool little bench over there. But he needed to connect the midsection and then the outer section and then the jet ski portion.
Got it.
And he fought that. He did that all by himself, the first part. So he like unloaded them out of his dump truck onto a 2-place snow machine trailer, then backed it down a really tight trail down a steep hill in a 2-place snow machine trailer down to there, and then had to use like wood and logs and like roll it onto the, because it's heavy. They're like 300-400 pounds
by
each.
yourself
Right.
too.
And then safely without getting hurt. So I helped him put the ramp on. We got it situated, slammed the 2 posts in, pile drive those in with a sledgehammer and a 2x4, and then we connected the other 2. So like the midsection is 4 pieces.
Yeah.
They're like 10x5, I think.
Looks like the same as that first little section.
yeah.
And so they're just all like in enclosed plastic boxes,
Yeah.
basically. And dude, they float so nice. And what's really cool is he usually has to pull his dock out because the wind and the ice and all that on that lake gets nasty. He's actually gonna he's gonna anchor up, or he's gonna strap the ramp up, pull the post, and then he's gonna float the whole dock around the corner into a really shallow cove. It freezes first and thaws first, and it gets it up tucked into the trees away from the wind. So tuck it up in there. The lake will drop. It'll kind of sit, rest in the swamp,
Got
and then
it.
it'll freeze in, and then ice won't push on it and pull,
Yeah,
and
ruin it.
and then it'll thaw out, so then it'll float, and then once the lake blows out, he'll go up with the jet ski, grab it, and then drag it back to the.
How do you get those posts out?
It's actually they're not that. I
Oh,
mean,
they're
I
not-
took
they're
a
just
2x4
kinda making it
and a
not go
hammer,
side
and
to
it was like
side?
dunk, 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 and
Oh,
then
okay.
so you just gotta kind of twist them, and then worst case scenario, you can grab like a pipe wrench and like really
Okay.
reef on them and then
Yeah.
get them up. So they're just in like just enough to kind of hold it, and then you can see it's got the 2 lines from the cleats.
Yep.
So those are kind of like holding it too. So like the posts are just kind of like a formality to kind of hold it in place.
Got it.
But that was really cool. And he was, my cousin was he was so happy once we set that up.
Oh, I bet.
Because it was like
looks
something that
beautiful.
was weighing on his mind, you know?
That's a big project.
It was, yeah. And then the clamps, the style of the clamps, I wish I would take some documentation to show how they clamp. So like the boxes come together, and then there's this like clamp that's like 4 feet long, and it's got these like studs in the middle, and you got to like ratchet them down and get them lined up. Is a
to
pain in
keep
the-
those little rectangles together.
Yeah, like you got to put them together and then slide this clamp on there, so it clamps the
yeah.
top and bottom, and
Yeah.
you got to line them up just right. And they were, man, I had to put my shorts on and get waist deep in the water, and like, and then oh my god, the freaking horseflies
Oh, vicious.
eating us alive.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, just
brutal.
have you ever been bitten by a horsefly? They like
yeah.
take a
Oh, yeah.
fucking chunk out of you.
Yeah.
They do,
You can
and
bleed.
yeah, I mean, we were getting to him before, but you know, like he's sprawled out, laying all weird, trying to get the thing going, and I'm in the water, wet, you know, and the flies are biting us, and we're just like, ah.
That's when you need one of those little like shocker,
The
the
tennis
Oh no,
racket.
this guy,
Yeah, the
this
tennis
guy
racket.
goes down there with doubles. He's just killing
really?
shit like
Oh,
he
just
just
full
walks
Star
around, he
Wars?
just walks around the cabin all weekend long. It's like, I got my thermocell, which the horseflies don't give a shit about.
They don't
that.
care about that,
No,
right?
They don't.
Yeah, horsefly samurai.
Yeah. But no, it was really cool, and he's super excited to get his jet skis down there next weekend or week after. Get those launched. He's got a late start, so he'll only get to enjoy this for a little bit. But you know, it's a long game thing because you know this cabin he's gonna have forever, and this dock is new, and they did the whole old school. wood dock with the 55-gallon drum barrel.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome for like 16 years until it dilapidated and fell apart. And it was like, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to invest in a good material and a dock that's going to last for 30 years. And I don't got to worry about building all this shit.
Yeah, good for him. That looks
really
great.
cool.
Looks great.
It looks legit.
And believe it or not, the water was warm up there. I jumped in and swam a little bit, and I was like, wow, it's, it hasn't been that hot. So I was surprised that the lake was actually warm, warm enough to
dive in there.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, this is that stretch out in front of the dock. This is where I was dinking around in the overflow back in the spring when I went ice fishing. I was telling you, I was
it was a little warmer this time when you fell in.
Yeah, a little bit. No northern lights though, man. That's all.
Well, that sounds like a little work and play as per usual at a cabin. That's
always
great.
a project.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually endless work, but you just play and put the work off and just do a little bit of work.
Yeah. Cabin's not going anywhere.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Jackie, how about you, buddy? I know you took a little trip out of state.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Let's see here. So, went on the.
Let's go back to the Gulkana.
Yeah, so
we never got to talk about that last time.
Yeah, we went on the Gulkana. So that was right before our last podcast.
It was.
Well, Jerry got married. It was a super whirlwind week. Yeah, so we ran down to the wedding. Jerry got married on top of Alaska. It was really nice. Had some family time that morning, then busted back to town. I hadn't packed anything. I think I got back at the house at 11. I was out of town at 1. So pretty quick. Bolted up there. Great weather. Lots of road construction. There's some pretty cool stuff going on.
Are they fixing all those frost heaves and all that section?
Yeah,
there?
they are. And there's like a mine almost, a quarry going on. And I was trying to look at what kind of rock it looked like sandstone, but they're taking huge boulders and basically, they blasted this whole giant quarry. And then it looks like they're lifting the road more than normal to, mitigate the frost heaving, which was pretty cool. But it's like that whole section between the Tote Cutoff and Paxson. I think there's like 3 or 4.
Myers Lake.
Before and after. Yeah.
It's straight Tonka truck.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like.
Is it going to be ready by hunting season?
Oh hell no!
No,
that's like
this
is
years.
Oh, this is years. Okay.
I would say like 5. I mean,
there's some
by
big
the
stuff going
extent of the tear up that they're doing. I say I was going to interrupt. The Tonka truck thing is like, it's legit. If you're a kid that played in a sandbox with like the big dozer and the big dump truck, like the biggest D9 and the whatever that other big goddamn huge dump truck is. I mean,
the way they call it, like the B5 or something.
I don't know, man, but there's
Super
like
B, something like that.
Biggest, baddest equipment that could ever be built to move Earth. Is there.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And how they got you kind of routed through that whole crazy
all
thing.
the drills that are drilling the holes for the explosives, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on that highway. But they had been improving it the last couple of years,
Yeah.
Yeah, little sections.
Yeah. So I think they must be doing the whole road. Anyway, got on the river. It was nice. We had some boat problems right away. Yeah. So there was some tinkering on the motor. A lot of luck. Lot of luck to get across the lake there. But then it was great float, awesome weather, lots of rainbows. Right on the first morning, my cousin came. She's from Reno and is an Alaskan. In her first year here, she's used 7 forest cabins, so she was really acclimated to
she doesn't
Alaska
work.
life. She does work.
She must be like Alaska outdoor girl. Does that girl ever work either? Like
she just has gotten
Alaska outdoor girl.
Yeah.
How does that girl? It's never
super
working.
cool. So so the first float that first morning when you leave, it's really good rainbow fishing, and my cousin Sammy had never used a fly rod, so it's like, okay, wait, here's your 2-minute lesson, and I'm gonna paddle and you do these things. And we ran around the second bend, and she had already caught, I think, like 3 fish.
Where is this?
On the Gulkana.
On the river?
Yeah.
You ever seen that, Mike? You ever seen Paxton Lake and the Gulkana?
Paxton Lake.
Yeah.
So it's the outlet of Paxton Lake.
All right.
Yep.
Yep. So there's a float. What's it, like 70 miles from?
Is that how long the float is?
I think it's 68 or 72,
Oh, wow.
somewhere
It's
right in
longer
there.
than I thought. I
Yeah.
thought it was like 30, 40 miles.
It's about 60 something, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we were doing 20 plus mile days for the 3 days. So yeah, I
Those
think
are long
68
days.
sounds right. Yeah.
Like all day floating.
Yeah, it was good though. We kept like the tempo right, so everyone got up at 8, just kind of on their own. Coffee was made by the first person. Breakfast was started by the second person, and we were out by 10. Like every day,
Nice.
like
Torn
clockwork.
down. Yep.
No one had to say anything.
Yeah. Well, it's nice you guys kind of had a little smaller group this
Yeah.
time, whereas we've been on that trip with 20 some plus people.
Yeah.
And that's takes a lot to get all those people ready to
herding
go. And,
cats and like, yo, man, come on, dude.
yeah, and
Get
some people,
out.
go a little harder than others
Yeah.
at night. And
Just takes one
death.
person to eat the wrong cookie,
yeah.
So,
Yeah, man, I would never go camping with 20 people. I can barely go camping with myself. 20 people? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
it's a fun trip.
Yeah, you gotta have patience.
It's a trip when you go with 20 for sure.
No.
Yeah. It's a lot of.
But we got around, maybe it was the third bend. Anyway, she had already had 3 fish, and she asked, Hegedus was in the boat with us, fly fishing on the front, just in solace. And he was looking for rainbows. She was catching whatever, grayling and rainbows. And she's like, what's a record? And we're like, oh, well, Brandon Carl got 100. She's like, I think I can catch 100. So
Really?
she just went at it, and by the third day, she had 103.
She had the clicker out.
She would yell every time everyone knew her. 99! Which one are you at? She'd be like, 76.
How many are you catching? I got 99.
What did she end up with?
103.
Really?
Yep, 103
So the
in
new
the
record.
boat. Like
Wow.
she took the hook out of 100.
You made her eat
she
them all,
wouldn't
right?
count. Oh, I wish. But no.
100 and that's excellent.
Yeah, I attempted some grayling sashimi, but no one wanted that.
No one wanted to try.
So 103 and 70 miles.
Yeah,
That's not very good. You got to tell her that.
I
That's
was
a mile
pretty
and a
damn
half.
impressed.
You need an upper game, man.
Yeah. In this time, she also paddleboarded and did a bunch of other cool stuff. So I was proud of her, though. First time with a fly rod. And by the end, she was just like legitimate. Like, it looked like she'd been doing it for years. It
Was she
awesome.
using mosquitoes?
I had put different nymphs on, mostly bead-headed nymphs. Yeah, we ran some Dalai Lamas for a bit, and she had that one evening of all rainbows with Dalai Lamas. But yeah.
How big were the rainbows? Like 15 inches?
The
12
biggest
inches?
rainbow we caught on this trip was 24 inches.
That's nice.
Wow. That's a nice
But there
fish.
was 2 hookups that we saw the fish surface that they were as big as a red salmon. So, I'm thinking those were 26, 28 inch at least.
Good stuff.
It's 2 really nice ones. Definitely didn't get those in, but
Yeah.
super fun. And you
Cool
can't
to
bring
hook
in
'em up.
the monsters. You got to leave them out there. So
That's right.
try to catch
That's
them
right.
next year. Yeah, it was a good trip though. Beautiful weather. Lots of horseflies. There was some blood drawn. At one point, I was
really?
slapping them as fast as she was catching them. So I think I had killed like 45, and I was yelling it just like she was yelling. Though.
She catching a fish and you're killing a horsefly.
Yeah. Got a lot of sun. I was bronzed up by the end.
You guys
and-
picked the perfect.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That
Oh,
was
you guys
Yeah.
just got so fortunate with that weather. We just got that little stretch. Was
Yeah.
it hot? Was it hot too?
Yeah, it was hot. There's an 80+ degree day. We floated down. We were at camp. We got to camp at 7 and spent an hour and a half just hiking upstream, floating down in life jackets.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did the white shadow reveal himself?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep. But
White
there were.
shadow?
The white shadow. Well, we got a buddy.
I'm afraid to ask. What
We
does
got a
that
buddy
mean?
named Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. Really cool
Big
guy.
Kyle?
No, not Big Kyle. And he's a ginger, and he's definitely make sure he brings his SPF and his
Yep.
lotion and
Is that his SPF 250?
the highest you can get. Man.
Yeah. It goes on like grease.
Yeah, but one year he came with one a few years ago, and it must have been like an older bottle, and it just would not like soak into his skin.
Yeah.
It was just smearing.
Surface
just-
only.
Yeah, and he wears a white like a white board short.
Yeah.
board
it's
shirt.
Like SPF shirt.
So he's already really white, right? And then he
Okay.
puts this white cream on him that doesn't blend in, so he's like just white, all the way white,
Albino?
just totally white. And then we just started calling him the White Shadow. And it was just became a thing, man.
He's not going to burn though.
Oh, he's not going to burn.
Yeah. It was so much white that
Does
he
he wear the
didn't
big
have a
hat,
shadow,
too?
right?
Yeah,
His
yeah.
own
Just
shadow.
whatever the opposite of the
Yeah.
shadow is, the white shadow. That's him.
The white silhouette.
Yeah.
At the end of the trip, we CJ had a flat tire when we did the move, and luckily I had one of those like DeWalt, battery jumpers with the compressor in my truck, and I had told Johnson, and so I wasn't up there with them, but Johnson's like, hey, let's just open up Jack's truck, and so they're able to pump it up. And also in my truck, I always keep the green goo for the flats. So I have 2 bottles in my truck always, and so they use one of those, then use the compressor to keep it up above whatever 45 pounds, and it healed it. So just
Were you guys
pro
able to
tip.
get out at the normal spot?
Yeah,
Okay.
we could. They fixed that bridge.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, yep. So that bridge had washed out right earlier in the year.
Are you talking about the main Gulkana crossing, but right before it dumps
No,
into the
it's
copper?
the sourdough access to their campground, which is where we have to pull out. Because if you don't pull out there, then you have to go another 50 miles to the bridge or whatever it is.
But people do start at
so-
sourdough and go down, or they do the whole thing. But that turns from
Okay.
60 to like 100.
Yeah.
So I thought you guys floated from the lake to that outlet
No.
right there over the Richardson.
Yeah. No,
right
that
there.
that makes it almost 100 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can do that.
Yep.
I mean, when we drove up there this June, I was like, God damn, that's a long way, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a,
Yeah.
So that sourdough is maybe halfway between Glen Allen and
okay.
Paxson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Somewhere
it's
around
like
there.
50
Roughly.
or 60 river miles to
Okay.
continue from sourdough down.
Yeah.
And that's really good king fishing and stuff. People used to always do that. for
Yeah, that's like a
kings.
more
Yeah,
early
right,
run.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot of salmon in the river. Man, we usually see hundreds. I saw 12. No, 11.
No,
11.
any kings?
Yeah, some were kings. So,
Okay.
but between the kings and reds, I saw 11 fish. That's not very many.
No.
And this is like standing up, fly fishing, watching,
Yeah, spot fishing. You
yeah.
could see the silhouette of a king. It's huge.
Well, they're red there.
And they're red dog, yeah.
Yeah, the red torpedoes
Even
just
the
come
reds
out.
are red when they get to the
Yeah,
Gulkana.
yeah, they're turned.
Yeah, but awesome trip. Then got back and went down to family reunion down in Washington. It was super cool. We went to this Miller Sylvania State Park, and what I realized is Washington State has their shit together at these like state park campgrounds. It was as big as the Russian River, but way more separation between each of the little campground spots. And then they had all these nice like nature paths all the way around. They had like little buoys for swimming areas set out there permanently. And then they had a bar in the woods. So this open bar, and it was like, but at 6 o'clock they closed every day, but it was like draft beer.
Really?
And the park ran it, and all the proceeds go
to
the
the
state
park?
parks. And then they had like
That's-
Whoa.
commissary, and
What
everything
are we doing,
was.
Alaska? Come on, guys.
And then they had, I think, 5 of these like day use sites that were like a legit log cabin, but kind of open, and it had so airflow could go through them because it was hot.
Yeah.
And then they had like picnic tables and food prep areas in each one of these. And so we with like 45 family members at our family reunion had one of these, and then they had picnic tables outside that and fire pits, and it was legit.
Yeah.
And then they made sure people paid for the parking. So between like the parking, this commissary, and then this bar, it must fund for these upgrades. But we really need to like up our game after going and seeing this thing.
Well, sounds like room for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost would be cool to have like breweries or distilleries almost sponsor a campground, whereas they have the right to sell some of their products in a bar there, and then whatever, split the proceeds or whatever, and then they're in charge of kind of like like you adopt a highway or a section of a highway,
Sure,
where you keep it clean and you make sure people are paying and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty rad.
I mean, I would donate cider to the state park if they set up a bar, and then all the proceeds went to
Or
Yeah, the
improving,
maintenance of it and it's making it all
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but what it
You
did
and
is
everybody else would, dude. Everybody would do it.
there is probably a ton of people that weren't wild enough to get out and go camping normally or go to the lake normally that would go to this campsite because it's so nice. And even just the day use area at those beaches, there was hundreds of people. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, a lot of big population, right?
Yeah.
And that was Olympia area you went to, right?
Yeah. It was just it was just southeast, like maybe 4 miles from Olympia.
Beautiful area, man.
It was super cool. Lots of awesome trees.
Yeah, that's a great section. I was actually talking to someone about, whenever the voting comes up, and it seems like Alaskans always vote for the Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever those
sure.
bonds and things like
man.
that. Like, these roads will be fine, but fix the park.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah.
We'll make it to the park as long as the park's nice.
Yeah, we want another spaceship and spider thing at Linary. Yeah, that's what we want.
Yep, well, $2 million. Okay.
Everyone's in.
Yeah.
Just 2% on your house.
Yeah.
That's all.
How was the concert situation, Daniel? What was that up? What was up with that this weekend?
Big shout out to Showdown Productions over there. Ray from Shirts Up and Helen over there invited me and Serrano's, our other sponsors. So Anchortown Dogs and Serrano's. We were up at the F Street concert. They shut down F Street there, right by the Willowa between 7th and 6th.
Yeah.
Man, it was popping. I mean, it was Friday night or Saturday. It was more like techno style. Several local DJs, local bands, and then on Sunday was hip hop. And so there was a lot of local artists, and then Lupe Fiasco was up there, and Francis Dillon was on Saturday, and Greaves was also up there from on Sunday. And dude, we sold out, man. It was crazy, man. There was a lot of support. Everyone was buying. Everyone was spending money, buying shirts, buying hot dogs, buying burritos. Beers were flowing. It was a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yeah, the pictures looked awesome. I was just picking up a few. I was kind of following things a little bit while I was out of town.
Yeah.
Had spotty cell phone reception, so like the downloads would take forever.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it looks beautiful in town.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Perfect weekend for that.
Yeah. And normally, I try not to do too much on the weekend as far as events unless it's really worth my time. I mean, it takes a lot for me to stay in town on a weekend in the summer.
And the preparation, man.
The preparation.
You prepped for like 3 days for that.
Yeah, it was a lot of prep, but it was worth it. I mean, I sold out. I sold out of everything that I had. So it was well worth it. And they got me lined up for their next couple concert series they have coming up.
Showdown Productions.
When are those?
Showdown. I want to say there's one like towards the end of August and then one in September. And it's like a Friday, Saturday night.
Do you know like what type of music? And
I think it sounds to me like they're going to keep the split like that, where the one night is more like techno, house music style, and then the next night's like hip hop.
Sweet.
It doesn't seem like they're going into like the rock genre. I know that the Far North boys kind of handle that genre, so that's cool that they're not really stepping on each other's toes. They still kind of use the same area and the same venue. But different companies.
Yeah.
Where exactly was the venue? Was it right next to the?
So it's on F Street. It's between Willowa and Flat Top Pizza.
Oh,
is that little road right there? That's.
Did they put the stage in between?
They put the stage actually literally on the intersection of F and 7th.
Oh, okay. That's what created that that little boxed in.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out what that was. Like, where is that? I know it's downtown.
The sound was amazing.
So it's just like
it must have been the best sound I've ever heard at a concert.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out to whoever the sound is.
Outdoor concert or period?
Period.
Wow.
It was great. Nice. The sound was great. I don't know if it was because we were in between these buildings and that sound is just like traveling between there.
And there's like that covered walkway.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It was very well done.
It looked really cool and urban and like new. It like for all the shows I've ever seen in Alaska or Anchorage, they're pretty good. They're all right. If you've ever been to a show outside of here, they're like 10,000 times better.
Yeah.
But
what gave me that feel of like a show in like I've been to some shows in Austin and things like that in San Antonio and
it really looked well
San Diego.
organized and put together, man. It looked really good. It looked like it was very dialed as far as like what they were going for and how they kind of crafted or engineered or whatever you want to call the whole setup of it. It looked really cool, man. It just looked modern and I felt like a little FOMO. I was like, oh man, like
I felt FOMO. You guys were out enjoying the woods and I'm sitting here cutting onions.
Did you want to be on the stage?
Oh man, I got asked lots of times like, you should be up there. Da, da, da. I'm like, I'm getting paid more to be right here.
Yeah.
I got a business to run.
Yeah, but no, I did. I really liked some of the young acts. I mean, shout out to Saint Dion and AG Two Tone, and I think Shipwreck is from up here. I'm not sure, but some really cool. That's really cool that there's like a new generation of Alaska artists.
Yeah.
That can go to a show like that, which is very intimidating to be in front of 3,000 people and perform perform well and show up really well. Yeah, and then the Buffalo Brothers too. That's another two guys that did really well as well. It was cool, man. It was awesome. It was great. It was well worth it. I'm glad I stayed in town to do it. I did have my reservations because I'm like, I could be, floating in the middle right now, or doing something cool. But it was well worth my time, and it's helping to chip away at the couple of new toys I got my eyes on, and it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you gotta. I mean, you do pretty good mixing business and pleasure, and it seems like in your world, you're gonna have to compromise and commit.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. It's definitely a balance that I've reached. I mean, I watched, my parents work hard with their business, and sometimes they missed out on a lot of things where I decided, like, I don't want to kind of miss out on that stuff. Like, it's okay. money's always can be made. Yeah. But some of these fun times, especially with the young kids and things like that.
Time is short.
Time is short.
Yeah. Yep. You got to be mindful and be present for sure.
Yeah.
So what new toys?
I put down on the Can-Am 1000 6-wheeler.
Nice.
ATV. I went over there to mining and diving and talked to those boys over there. They said you can't get it till 2022, which is whatever. I understand there's a lot of COVID stuff going on still. It's one of those deals where I got my 4-wheeler, but the whole family doesn't fit on it anymore.
Right.
And the boys are ready to kind of take over, my old 4-wheeler, and the wife's ready to be comfortable in an actual like secondary chair, and it has the capacity to put an entire moose or caribou in the back, so it's just one of those deals like, man, I need it,
Cool.
I want it, but I feel like if I have it, I'm really going to use it, And as I get older, and
you won't regret it.
I won't regret it. And as you get older and you get more into, moose, out of the sheep hunting mind, and more into moose hunting and float hunting and things like that. And as your body gets older and everyone knows about my knee issues, it's like, well, realistically.
Fully clismatic?
Yeah, fully clismed. Realistically, like, I need to start looking towards these type of activities. I'm still going to get out there. I'm still going to get after it, but I just need a little bit more assistance.
You can bring the whole family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
That's the kicker.
Yeah. The wife really does want an ocean boat too, and she's been poking at me about it.
Oh yeah. What are you looking for there?
I don't know, man. I'm looking to just go with a friend. I don't know if I want to jump into that one. There's a lot to learn there, I think eventually, I don't know. We'll see if we'll see what happens. We really like Homer. She really likes the ocean. I wouldn't be I would be okay if I got myself a little Hughes craft or something,
Something to go drag some.
Something nice on the bathwater days or something, get out there next to you and be the little brother next to the big dog out there. I'm okay with that. You don't
gotta go full Kingfisher or Walrus boat.
I gotta sell a lot more hot dogs for that.
We can clean up, dude. Just clean up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's goals out there. There's a lot of there's just so many toys. Like how much, talking to actually Mediocre Alaskan Jeff Lunn, and he likes to bring up all our toys and all that stuff. And it's just those things that Alaska Rich. These couple of things just give you more avenues to get out and do fun stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeff real quick on that. I wanted to throw that out there that, I had a great conversation. I listened to everybody's podcast, and his are short and sweet. Yeah. Even though I thought ours was like 30 minutes and it was almost an hour. When I went to play it, I'm like, oh, wow, it's 56 minutes or whatever. But no, man, it was really awesome to be on the other side in the recording and answer questions and get to chat it up with him. But he's good stuff. His podcast is awesome. Mediocre Alaskan. To any listeners out there, give Jeff a check out. Check out his book, A Miserable Paradise.
Yep.
Southeast Alaska Catch Can Boy wrote a book about it, and yeah, he's good stuff. He's got a great message, and as a local Alaskan fellow podcaster, we're looking to promote each other and support each other. And I mentioned before, I felt like it was really the culmination of the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we should all angle toward when we're all doing something together like that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff's good people, and really enjoyed it. And for all the listeners, they ought to check him out.
Yeah,
It's
there's
worth
some
your
really
time.
good Alaska podcasts. I mean, Tyler Friel with Thunder Talk, he's doing great stuff up there in Fairbanks.
Badass. Yep.
You know, and then the Alaska, what was the story one? Mystery.
Lost in Alaska or no?
Oh man, we're gonna have to look it up because we got to shout that one out too.
Yeah.
That one's really good as well.
It's like the climbing injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of other little. I mean, Crude Magazine and their Crude Conversations
big time.
is definitely one of the big ones, and then Tubby's podcast as well for more of the hip hop stuff.
And everybody's got different angles and different styles, and
Yeah.
But it's all Alaskan based.
Exactly.
Whatever it is, it's
Exactly.
It's just we're promoting our state and our lifestyles and
Yep.
culture, and we say that a lot, but it means a lot.
Yep.
So.
Well, getting into talking about different cultures and lifestyles, I think we've made
and
Mike
and whiskey drinkers
and whiskey
over here?
drinkers over
Whoa.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to.
Whoa,
I want to.
hey, you're still here, Mike.
You want to drink some whiskey?
Hey, I'm up now.
I don't usually drink whiskey, but
I want to welcome Mike Radford to the show. Mike
Radford.
Radford is a businessman. He is a pilot. He is a falconer. He is a beekeeper. You can find him on Instagram at Mike Radford, all one word, Mike Radford, Radford. I want to start off slowly. I want to get to the falconry stuff, but I want to start off with the bee stuff.
Yeah, me too, man.
As I was
yeah, that was,
perusing,
you didn't know about that.
no. When we were talking about bringing Mike in, you never said the bee thing.
Voicemail. I'm like, what is that business again? And I meant to ask you.
So Mike, you were telling me before we started that you actually sell the bees.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What happened was my neighbor across the street from me there on Balkan Drive in Spinard, and she had bees.
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
I think I know where you live over there, actually.
Well, that's where I used to live.
Okay.
And
Good call.
she, I said, how do you get into beekeeping? And she said, well, call these guys. Well, they didn't have any bees. And then they referred me to this other guy, Dr. Joe Carson. And he had bees. And I didn't have a beehive. I didn't have boxes, anything. I went and talked to Joe. And he says, well, you're going to need this, this, and this. So I got it. You're going to need 2 hives. That's why I need 2. He said, well, if you lose one, you got another one. You won't lose your whole season. The season's short in Alaska. So anyway, that's how it started. And next year I had 5. Next year I had 10
Hives.
And
how many bees are within one hive?
Well, you start out with Joe was selling 5-pound packages of bees, which is a bunch of bees with a queen. And there's about 25,000 bees in that, and they mature up to about 60,000 bees, which we call critical mass, enough to go out and gather honey. So I figured in anything I ever did, if you want to learn how to do something, do it on the big side.
Do it right.
Do it right.
big.
Well,
Go big or go home.
You can have 1 hive and only learn so fast. If you have 5 hives, you learn 5 times faster.
There you go.
You got 10 hives, it's 10 times faster because every one of them is different, and they're going to do different things that you're never going to see. If you only had 1 hive, it'd take you 10 years.
Got it.
So he saw this, and he's like, God, this guy's going nuts with this, And anyway, he had a business of distributing bees, but he was getting into more of a holistic beekeeping program, selling different items, and he said, I can't do this anymore. And he gave me this distribution business, which I grew it. he would
Mike, what's it called real quick?
Northwest Bee Supply.
Northwest Bee Supply.
Right. And I grew that business up here, and then we moved out of the state for a little bit and take care of relatives, my father-in-law. And so down in Sequim, Washington, I grew the business even more. And I got that's where the bees come from, was down in McMinnville, Oregon. And that was his supplier that he turned me on to. And Nick Van Kalkar and I grew this business to 2,100, 2,500 packages a year, which is phenomenal.
And you said again, one pack of bees is how many?
Well, we were selling 4-pound packages down there, which is
they do it by weight.
Yeah, it's by weight. 5,000 bees to a pound.
Wow. Plus one queen.
One queen in that whole group there, and that's a whole nother process. But
do we have a picture of what that looks like?
Oh no!
Well, can you explain what is a package of bees?
Well, it's
like?
A box with screen on either side.
Okay.
With 25,000 bees in it, with a queen hanging from the middle and a can of food, and they're all sealed up in there, and they're not supposed to get out. And you take that package, a package of bees, and you put it in a hive, and they take over the hive. They colonize it. They build comb. They lay eggs in there. They get the queen going. And, by middle of July, they start making honey around here. Down in the lower 48, it can be a little bit sooner, about the 1st of July. And you go further south, and they got several different flows of honey. But that started out that business, and I was kind of I was retired from flying. And flying international, I could only do it for about 15 years. It just takes its toll on your body. And
commercial air?
Oh yeah, 747 captain.
Oh, okay, right on.
And that was fun, and I did that. And all along flying out on the Aleutians for 17 years, and always been involved in aviation. This was just a side business that, like, when I got out of aviation, it's like, and you need something else. So I did this, and then I was selling honey like crazy. I was getting 1,000, 1,200 pounds of honey a year off my hives. I was up to about 54 hives of my own, and then I was selling 2,100 packages a year in the Northwest and up in Alaska, and I kind of cut out Alaska. And then I went, Nick Van Kalkar apiaries, he wanted to get out of the package business. It was taking too much time away from him developing his hives. He had about 8,000 colonies. And so, we split. I mean, it was all good. I just found another beekeeper, commercial guy, and I started doing nuks, which is a nucleus colony. NUC is short for nucleus. And that's a package of 5 frames of bees and a queen, and those are all her bees, all her brood, and you just put it in your hive. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a ready-made hive about a month ahead of a package.
Okay.
It's an established hive. You're just giving it more room to grow.
Got it.
Put it in the hive.
Yeah,
So
then I started doing that, and that grew and grew and grew, and it does pretty good.
So when you say you put them in a hive, they don't create their own hive. It's already like a made box of some sort.
It's a box that's certain dimensions, 20 by 19, 20 by 18. And
take a look up here, Mike. Is it kind of like that?
Yep, that's a package of bees.
Okay, so that's the package that you would sell.
That's a package. Now a nuke is in that box right there on the left. It's a beekeeping hive nuke package. And that's 5 frames of bees in a nuke, and this is no frames, just loose bees. And they colonize the frames in a hive. This is, you take 5 frames out of your existing hive, and you put these frames in, and they in the middle, and away they go.
Is that about the size of a dog kennel?
No.
Is that smaller?
It's a lot smaller. It's
okay.
About 10
maybe that
inches
tote
wide.
there? This tote here, this gray tote?
It's only about that tall, about that wide.
Oh, okay. That's a lot smaller.
6 by 12 by 15.
And you just
15.
ship that?
Yeah, you can ship it. We have sticks of them that are 5 of those wide, and put them in the back of a trailer that's got fans and fans and vents that pull air in from the bottom, and it just really
drive them up.
I only drive them around the lower 48, and up here, you can't bring bees through Canada. It's illegal,
right.
But you can ship them up on Alaska Airlines. Does it every year. That's how they get up here from California.
So is a lot of your business from like people that are beekeepers that aren't wintering their bees then, and they're letting them die off, and they're starting a new colony, or?
Well, it's a variety of both. Sometimes bees die during the winter, and people need to replenish them. And then some people's bees make it through the winter, and they want to add more bees to their program.
Okay.
50% of them die, or 20% of them die. 20 to 50% of them die each year. So they have to replenish their bees, and we have the bees that when you come off of almonds down in California, where the bees go in January, they come out so packed with bees from all that good protein and warm weather that they're going to swarm in April. And if you don't reduce that colony size as a pollinator, those bees are going to go to the trees, and they're lost. They're gone. So those guys shake bees off of those colonies and put them in those packages, and they make nuks out of them, and it prevents the swarm.
How do they catch the queen?
Wow.
Well, they usually, in the nukes, it's all new queens. This is all new queens. They get a new queen from queen breeders in Hawaii or California, and they install them in these packages and in the nukes.
How do you breed a queen?
Oh, it's a long process.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, first you got
gotta back it up,
get her
bro.
all. First you got to get her all. You got to get her all dressed
Big
up.
girls.
It's Friday night, and it's
You got to build a pyramid.
yeah,
and
it's
lots
like-
of gold.
yeah, and they she's got to feel just right.
Yeah.
You got to get her slimmed down so the guys like her, and it's like she can fly around. She goes out and they're sluts. She'll breed with 10 guys,
Yeah.
10 male bees, and then the males die. It's pretty gruesome.
After they mate with the queen, they die, right?
Yeah,
They
his
just
little-
go out on top, just like, I got her, boys.
Yeah, you hear the snap
got the
of his
queen.
little winky, and he falls to the ground, and she runs.
He's
by.
smiling though, man.
Oh,
He
yeah,
just
all
goes
the-
out on
all-
top, man.
all the way to the ground.
Hey, it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
He got it, man.
I don't like
He
do
got
it
it.
more than once. Can
Hey,
I
at
try?
least, some people at least get it once, though.
Can I try that again?
Yeah, nope, you're dead.
No, one shot.
Giddy
I,
up.
as I was perusing your Instagram earlier, I saw something that said pollen by the tub, and there was a picture of a huge tub full of pollen, like just
Yeah, well, what I do is I make bee food in the spring to supplement the bees' food intake with a protein supplement.
okay.
And it's pollen patties, and it's protein patty. And you put it with the hive, and they eat it. And so when you have these new hives, they don't know where all the food is. And a lot of times there isn't any food out there for them, so you have to feed them. And you got to feed them protein because that's what they feed the babies, and sugar syrup. So you provide all that for them for a certain amount of time till they build up their strength, and then the pollen comes in, the flowers start blooming, and there's nectar out there. You don't need to feed them anymore.
So are they like free flying outside of this hive, and then they come back every night?
Yep.
So they need a certain amount of area to float around and come back nightly.
Yeah, they'll go out. They'll orientate. We like to say 2 miles. They'll go.
You got
real
a couple of
easy.
them collared, so you can.
Oh, they got little GPS collars on them and receivers and beepers. They know right where they're
Daniel,
coming
were you
back
talking
to.
about this, right? Or no, that's not it.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That's
Oh, okay.
that's bee pollen. I make a pollen patty. That's not that. It's a protein supplement. Because there's no pollen available for these new bees when you're putting them in the hive. They don't know where they are. They just came out of California or Washington
Yeah.
or Oregon up to in the Washington, they don't know where they are. They haven't orientated. They haven't found their food yet. And that time of year in April, there's not much pollen around there to be propagating the hive because they need pollen to grow. That's their steak.
Got it.
That's their protein. And their carbohydrates is their sugar. The sugar is what keeps them warm and makes their wings flap. 1,200 beats a second.
Got it.
Wow.
Now
So they need a lot of sugar.
Yeah. Where are they coming up with all these bees? Like, where are they breeding these bees to sell to these packs? I mean, this must be an immense.
Well, like I
operation.
said, they go down to almonds in January.
Oh, so they're actually capturing live.
No,
wild bees?
All the hives in America, North America, in the continuous United States go into California in February 1st from all over, Florida, Texas, everywhere. And they pollinate the almond trees.
Naturally.
Well, that's why they're doing it. That's the best pollination program that we have going.
Okay.
So they go in there and they get hired to do this. And then they come out of that, the almond trees bloom, they're pollinated, the farmer's done with them. Now, all these hives have come from all over in the middle of the winter.
And they're sending them on an airplane. They're not flying across the United States.
No, they're driving them in trucks, semi-trucks.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
So people that own these bees are bringing them to pretty much
semi-truckloads
to pollinate the almonds. And
Nick with 6,000 colonies will have 20 semi-tractor trailer truck loads of bees going to almonds out of Oregon. Wow. 20. That's just him.
That's insane.
It is insane. And there's millions of hives that go down there. 2 million hives go into California. Now, when those bees get there, they're 8-frame colonies, but they blossom out to like 15 frames, 20 frames. And they're going to swarm because they've run out of room in those hives. And the beekeepers don't want them. The commercial guys, swarmed hive is a dead hive. They got to do something with those excess bees.
What do you mean a swarmed hive?
They fly away. They reduce their numbers in the hive because it's too crowded.
But before that, they're capturing all the honey. They're collecting the honey out there as well, or no?
There's not much honey involved with almond trees.
Okay.
They're getting a little bit, but not enough to really
produce
to sustain them for very long.
Okay.
But they get pollen, which almond pollen is like 60% protein. It was really high. It was the highest one. It's really healthy for them. So they just go nuts and they start breeding and laying eggs, and everybody's happy. But they got all these bees hatching at the middle of April, and the hives are booming, and they shake all the bees. They knock all the bees off into these tubs, and that's the ones they sell to people, the backyard beekeepers.
Got it.
And they also replenish their own winter loss from those bees.
So
it's a very in-depth, complicated.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, along with that, I saw something actually the other day about save the bees.
It's been going on for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, bees produce, they pollinate our food. They also said, that if we lost all the bees, which isn't going to happen, that we would cease to have food in 5 years. We'd all starve to death. Well, there was some statistics on how much food we actually get from bees for pollination, and we're not going to starve to death. We're just going to change the way we eat, but it's not going to happen. And there was things that came into play, different pathogens. They knew about 6 or 7 of them, and then 2 years later, they knew about 27 of them that were attacking the bees. They just hadn't had the technology to find what pathogens were actually attacking the bees. So they had a bee colony loss of 50%. And, as history went, the beekeepers figured out how to nullify that high percentage rate back down to 20% a year.
Okay.
So if you don't put money back into your business, right, you're soon going to go out of business.
Yeah, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and you're just going to evaporate. And that's what happened to a lot of commercial beekeepers. So some got real big, and there's less people keeping bees, but those people are keeping more bees.
Got it. How many beekeepers would you say are in Alaska?
Oh, gosh, I have no idea. Really.
Thousands?
No, there's not 1,000.
No way.
No.
100?
No. There's probably, everybody had 2 hives, there's probably 3,000 beekeepers.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Some people have more, some people have less, some people have 1 hive, some people have 3, 4 hives. The guys up in Delta, they'll have 10 hives, 5 hives. So Ukrainians are really, really, it's in their culture.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a big colony of folks up there
that's their thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I seen one
on the table. I know.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
That's all right. Yeah, I seen someone on Spinard there that had like and they have the multicolored. They're like yellow and blue and red, and they seem stackable.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
And there's bees flying all over the place, and I could just tell that this person is a beekeeper.
Right.
And so that I want to say she had like 8 of those boxes. So how many bees would you say are approximately?
Well,
in
you'd hope to have 60,000 bees in each box, in each colony.
Wow.
That's so many.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I would fly up.
My wife would not like that.
If I in the back of the truck, I got a 24-foot V-nose that I haul bees in. I got 3 fans on one side and 4 louvered ducts, air entryways, intakes on the other side.
An enclosed trailer.
An enclosed trailer because
Okay.
it rains down in the lower 48 during that time of year. Not up here in Alaska, but down there it can be nasty. But you still need to transport them, and you need to keep them cool and protected. And I'll have 150 colonies in there of 270, and there's probably 25 to 30,000 bees in the 270 colonies. So you multiply that out, it's quite a few bees in the back. You drive careful.
Yeah.
You don't want to make any mistakes.
Yeah, nice and easy.
That's why I got that truck.
Well, when I met you, and you were talking about going down to Washington, you didn't mention what you were going down for. And that's what it was for your bees, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was shipping the truck out.
Yeah.
And, it does a good job. But dually gives you that extra stability and security. If you blow a tire, you only blew one. You still got another one there, and you can...
Doesn't throw the whole trailer all out of whack and toss your bees and all your equipment all over the place.
It'd be a disaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you pick a home base for the bees? Like how many, you got these hives that, where you place them.
Oh, where you place them at your house?
Or like how many
premise,
hives can you place in like at your property? And
there's regulations in Anchorage on how many you can have in your property. I think it's like 4 or 5.
Who regulates that?
Well, the beekeepers regulate themselves.
Okay.
But the city would, if you got a complaint, they would
So
maybe come out and look.
The Muni actually has like a
ordinance.
Okay, maybe similar to like keeping chickens or something like that.
How many chickens? You can have 12 chickens.
Okay.
How many goats can you have?
5?
I have no idea. 2?
My neighbor had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I've never said anything about that.
Were you asking us like you knew the answer? Or you
No,
asking us
I don't know. I don't think there is an answer. I don't think the city's figured
Should I
that
cue the
out
trivia
yet.
music?
I don't think the city's figured out goats yet. But yeah.
you need your lawn mowed,
Yeah. Oh, and anything, man. Anything mowed. They'll eat your lawnmower. Stand on top of it and eat the tires.
So I guess what I was getting at is, you have your, wherever your house is placed, and you have this radius 2 miles or whatever that the bees can go to. How many beehives can you have on like in one area, or are you selecting the house or the home base where all these hives are based on like other nutrients that are around?
Yeah, you start as a beekeeper when you become a beekeeper, not right away. You start looking around to see what kind of flowers are in the area. What can they eat? Clover. State planted a lot of clover. Guys up in Fairbanks, all the right-of-ways planted in clover. Here we got vetch. The purple flowers are vetch.
Yeah,
and they'll go after that in dire need of. It's a very low yield of nectar, but it does have some. So you start looking around for this stuff. And like a buddy of mine that's also a falconer, he has bees, what is it, over there on C Street and O'Malley.
Oh, yeah, like Clat area?
Yeah, right in the Clat area there.
Yeah.
And then another guy has bees, another falconer has bees right across the street from him.
Oh, it goes
So
hand in
that's
hand,
4
huh?
hives in one little area, but it's no big deal because there's more foliage out there, flowers. You start looking at fireweed and you start looking at different things that are blooming as to what your bees can, forage. And also the trees. The trees have nectar. Like cottonwoods at a certain time, I would think, have nectar. The pine trees have pollen. You've seen pollen just blowing off of pine trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 It's nasty in the summer, in the springtime.
Has it been a tough season for bees? Because I haven't seen as many bees.
It's
this
cool.
summer.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's been a cool summer,
summer.
and I haven't like I normally see a lot of bees around my neighborhood. However, there's been some new construction, So I'm thinking maybe them blowing out trees and timber and stuff.
It's probably people get in and get out of the beekeeping hobby. The person that may have been around your area, if you have a garden hose or a water effect around your yard, you're going to see bees because they'll come in there and drink. And so it's all, my speculation as to why you're not seeing as many bees. But I know a lot of people that have bees, and it's just up in the valley, it's been warm, just not in Anchorage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Anchorage is right by the ocean. It's always cooler than...
True.
Fairbanks is where you were just up at Paxton. It was warm, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's always warm.
Yeah.
It's great up there in the summer.
Yeah.
Terrible during the winter.
Yeah.
So
Polar
do
opposite.
you have to notify your neighbors if you're going to just bring in 60,000 bees to your house?
They'll figure it out.
The dog comes walking in, swatting its ear just because it got stung.
I just
Well, on that note, I lived in a little house back in my...
Oh, if they do say something, just give them a jar of honey.
there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
You're a good guy then.
There you go.
In a box of baking soda because it neutralizes bee stings.
Yeah,
So,
beekeepers always lose. In any kind of argument, beekeepers going to lose.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bet.
This one guy came up to me and says, "You got bees in your backyard?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He says, "They bite people?" I said, "No, they might sting you, but they don't bite." Oh, we got a lot of kids running around here. I said, "Well, don't go kick over the hive. Won't be any problem. Would you like a jar of honey? You trying to buy me off?" I said, "Not now, jerk." Turn around, walk away. He's standing there, like, I could have just had a jar of wonderful honey, but I was a jerk.
Never mind. I'll take that back. No, I lived next to a beekeeper. Well, I don't remember if he was a beekeeper or he was a honey.
It's a beekeeper.
Same thing.
Is it all the same?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
They're beekeeping for the honey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned the honey, but it really wasn't about the honey. It was more about the bees, the hives, the number of bees. Like we were talking more about moving actual critters.
Yeah,
But then
moving bees versus
then we were
moving
talking
honey.
about making jars of honey because I have some family that makes.
That's what I do after I get all the bees distributed to people.
Then it moves to the honey mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got family that makes honey out in Hawaii and they're killing it. They bring it back here, they sell it. It's Kona Honey Company.
Is there different levels of
What?
bee
Yeah.
honey? I should say levels of honey. Some's better. Yeah, not production, but like quality.
And
Oh.
different taste.
Oh, there's so many different tastes. It's,
Oh, really?
It's like wine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an IPA. I mean, everybody's building an IPA now, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
eight.
they sure are.
Or 8.
So my aunt and uncle's honey is macadamia nuts.
Yeah.
That's what makes theirs unique.
Yeah.
is
Oh,
the
so
macadamia
does it
nut.
depend on what they're pollinating?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
Now, in my personal opinion, I thought in the beginning that, fireweed, that's really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's really
yeah.
clear, and it's a real mild tasting honey, which people that haven't ever had really good honey, they start out with fireweed and you're like, oh, this is great. Wait till you have blackberry honey. Ooh, man, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
I got people that just like, that's the best honey I've ever had. It doesn't leave a foul taste in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, glad you like it. It's
So
the best
these-
honey in the world.
These are Alaska blackberries.
No, it's down
Yeah, Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you seeing many people plant blackberries up here?
I don't think you could plant enough blackberries up here to do what
To
they do
sustain
down
it.
there.
How about raspberries?
They'll get raspberries. They'll get blackberries. They'll get anything that has a flower on it.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just all going to be considered a wildflower honey then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about what's the best tasting Alaska honey?
Fireweed.
Fireweed.
Yeah.
Fireweed.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really
Just a
good.
good
Hands down.
overall.
Oh, it's just, and people like the clarity of it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's called water clear.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not that dark brown
It's not so
amber. It's more of
browny.
like a clear yellowy.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Now, why do bees like my hot dog stand?
Because you obviously have some sugar around there. What do you have?
They're attracted to the grill. I have to swat them away so they don't fly
Those
right
are-
into the grill.
Are they yellow jackets or honeybees?
I'm not an expert.
Oh.
I don't think they're yellow jackets.
Yellow jackets are yellow.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can
maybe
pull it
yellow
up, and they have sharp wings. And if you
Well,
have
I've seen several different kinds
are they
that
the
come
ones
in.
that swarm you when you're cleaning salmon in your driveway?
those are the
Oh,
meat
yeah.
eaters, yeah, the
Yeah.
honey, the hornets, yeah, yellow jackets. They're,
Okay.
they're the assholes of the bee world.
Okay. Yep.
And they don't
That-
produce honey, right?
But when you
Yeah.
Can you
So
pull
your-
up honeybee
when you-
real quick?
Yeah.
when you put your dead salmon in your garbage in your trash can,
Yeah.
those are not honeybees that are eating that. When you open the lid and everybody comes out at you, it's like, those are yellow jackets.
Yeah,
yeah, are
okay,
they a
these are-
bee or they're a hornet, right?
Yeah,
They're not a bee.
They got a sharp wing, not a round honeybee wing. They don't.
Yeah,
Those are-
that's what I'm getting by the stand because I can tell by that really yellow
those
fluff.
are honeybees.
Yeah, that's what I get over there, and they just they try to suicide right into the grill.
That one looks like a yellow jacket a little bit. That picture.
Well, I've seen. I mean, I know. Pull up. I've seen several different ones, and even what's the big fat ones?
Bumblebees.
Okay, even though every bee, they just for some reason, maybe it's the
The
propane that's
propane
burning
burn?
and that heat. I don't know
Or
what
the
it is, man.
CO2 maybe.
They're just attracted to it, and they just come
Okay.
right now.
These
Yeah.
are the assholes that will mess with
Yeah.
you when you're cleaning your salmon.
that is a yellow jacket.
Okay. Okay.
And we
Like a
have
hornet.
a ton
That's
of
a
these
hornet.
around town.
Yeah.
Tons.
Yeah.
So let those fly into the grill, not the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
ones.
kill those. They're the jerks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they impede on the other bees' ability to do their thing? Do they?
Well,
do
they will kill a hive in the fall.
Oh, they will.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll come in and rob it and kill the other bees because they sting you. Their stinger doesn't come out.
Yes.
A honeybee stings you, and the stinger
Dies.
comes out, and the
And
bee
then
dies.
they die. Okay. These guys can sting, pull it
Multiple
back
ti-
in, and then.
Multiple
Can,
times.
can we clarify something? I have a buddy, Josh Boots, who is allergic to bees. Anytime there is a bee, my wife is highly afraid of bees. And anytime there's a bee, it's full flight.
Yeah,
you know?
get the EpiPen out.
They're
ready to
scared. They're
plug,
running.
like-
They're just like they're not stinging you for no reason, right? If you're just
Yeah, mostly they'll sting you in defense of their hive. If you open the lid on the hive, they'll maybe come out and sting you, or try to. If you smoke the hive, that calms them down with a smoker, and it's another aspect of beekeeping. And the other thing was bees aren't in there to sting you, just flying around. They're looking for something.
yeah.
And if you have a bee land on your arm, you do that, you're going to get stung. You just agitated him. He's going to sting you, and you're going to feel bad, and you're going to say, I got to get away from bees. And you might have a reaction, you might not. There was studies, of course, done on everything these days, and kids of beekeepers have more of prone to a moderate reaction to bee stings than kids that aren't beekeeping children of a beekeeper. And it's because they don't get stung. I grew up getting stung by everything. Bit,
Same
stung,
here, yeah.
stepped on nails, pulling nails out of my tennis shoes, you know. I always say, hey, it ain't the going in, it's the pulling that damn nail out with the 2x4 attached to it. That's the hard part. But then, yeah, and we got stung by everything, and you have some certain amount of immunity to it. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid of them. Watch them, learn.
Yeah, you don't freak out. I know that.
Well, that's what happens is you get them and then you start flailing your arms around
Yeah.
and then you hit them and then it defends itself.
Oh, one of my favorite deals was I was distributing some bees down in Tacoma, and this gal comes up and she's, getting her nuke of bees, and she drives off, and the thing goes into park. The truck goes into park, slams into park, and she comes bailing out of the car. I got one in my hair, running over. I says, "Hold still, I'll get it," and it's in her hair, and it falls into her top. Ooh. Get it. And I said, yeah, but it's on your boob. She goes, I don't care. I said, okay.
Did she say the other boob?
The other boob.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was wondering
I think the
about,
bee's gone now.
It's no longer there.
Yeah, just keeping you safe,
I was
honey.
wondering about the
No, she
bees.
came back this year, bought more bees.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
She wasn't afraid. Man, I might be like botching this up, and we have to keep dragging it out.
Man, we can talk about bees till hell freezes over.
What's the bee, or is it a wasp, or whatever, where you like swat it and then the other bees can smell?
Oh, any of them. Well,
Okay.
honeybees will. If you get stung by a honeybee, the rest are coming at that spot. If you get stung in the forehead, it's time.
Do they just sense that you're
They smell the
threat? You're a threat, or like what is it? Like,
No, they smell the pheromone of the sting. Oh. And then the other thing you can do to ward off that after you do get stung, if you do get stung, a stinger comes out, right? Take your fingernail or a credit card, if you don't have a fingernail, and scrape it off. Don't pinch it, because this little venom sac is on the end of the stinger, and it's a hypodermic needle with barbs on it. That's why it comes out. It's stuck in your skin. Scrape it off. Okay. That way you won't get as much in you. And then one thing that really helps is like baking soda, and if you got some kind of mild...
Yeah, baking soda, yep.
Yeah, we learned that with yellow jackets, down south, and you always had that. You put it on there, and it nullifies the venom.
I mean, it instantly relieves the pain.
Yeah.
Like, it just swells up, and it starts hurting, and you just mix a little water and baking soda and put it on there, and just like instantly done.
Really? Good to know.
I got stung one time, and I was mowing the lawn, and my sweet old lady neighbor was like, just put a little baking soda with water on there, and I kind of made a paste.
Yep.
So I mixed it up real quick, threw it on there, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, it was immediate relief. I couldn't believe.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is lavender oil.
Okay.
It hides the scent of the pheromone, but it also has a tendency to relieve the pain. So I always had a little vial of lavender oil with me when I was beekeeping. Oh, we got stung.
Maybe always. Some of that grapefruit lavender cider on there.
Yeah, just keep drinking it.
Just have
Let it seep out of your pores.
Some GFL.
There's definitely no bees going to sting me in this studio room right now, because I'm just sweating lavender right now. It's just like coming out.
Yeah, I can smell it over here.
I had a thought, and I wanted to just mention it, that for a couple of years, I lived in this little house, and 2 houses down, I had a beekeeper, honey guy, and the bees were never a nuisance. And he was 30 yards away. And this guy had bees in the front, back, side. I mean, he had bees. He had the sign. His house was like yellow and black, and like he was the bee man. And you could drive around the corner, ride your bike by, whatever his property, and those bees never bothered you.
No.
And I thought, man, like, are they trained? I know that's silly, but like, why are they not? Okay, now when I busted the salmon out, maybe there weren't his bees. Maybe those honeybees weren't coming over messing around. But when we brought home some salmon, and back then the Deshka was cracking, and we'd bring home a couple kings, and we'd be out in the driveway filleting.
Those are yellow jackets coming in.
Oh, they were motherfuckers, man. They would come in and just like all over, and it was like, where did they come from?
They can smell it.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot more of those.
Come out when you're cleaning meat
right now, too. Have you
That's
noticed
that time of year.
No, I mean in the last 3 or 4 years than there used to be. Have you noticed that, or?
Yeah, I got a lot of calls to eradicate them last year.
Oh.
The big people, cause I got honeybees underneath my deck. No, you don't. You got yellow jackets. No, they're honeybees. Let's say, go look at a picture of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I charge a certain amount to come out there and get rid of them, or I used to, and
well, those yellow jackets, they don't have like that fur mane.
No, there's like no fur
they're
on
not
them.
furry.
They're not furry like the
good
like
observation. Yeah. And they got round wings.
Okay.
The honeybees have round wings. The yellow jackets have sharp wings.
Well, and they're like black.
Got
it.
A
yellow jacket has like black wings.
Yeah,
and then
they're sharp. See how rounded the honeybee wings are?
Yep.
Now go back. Look how narrow.
Oh,
straight.
gotcha. Okay.
So the bumblebee, they're pollinators too, right?
Yes, they're good pollinators.
Yeah, but they don't create
They're
honey.
like harmless. They don't really sting, right?
No, they live in the ground.
But there's a hive still?
Yeah, it's not as big as a beehive or a yellow jacket hive, but they live in the ground, and they can survive the winter in the ground.
Oh, okay.
They do real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are wild. Those are our wild pollinators.
But they're not in the vast numbers, though. They're smaller groups.
Well, smaller group, but they can be a lot of them, a lot of groups. But those are the ones we're talking about with all the pesticides and herbicides that are killing is our wild pollinators.
Got it.
The ones that are out there that nobody sees or identifies as a pollinators are typically honeybees, right? These wild pollinators, there's all kinds of them. Dragonflies, birds. That's what's killing. Yeah. That's what the chemicals that we're putting on the crops are killing.
Okay.
That's what our concern is. The farmer has no intent of killing your honeybees when he's trying to eradicate weeds and other pests.
Right.
So he's going to, in California and many other states, it's a law that when you're going to apply these herbicides and pesticides, you have to tell the beekeeper in the local area that, hey, I'm going to be doing this Friday morning at 9 o'clock, and he's going to cover his hives, especially if he's on your property. He's pollinating your crops. But most farmers, well, not all farmers, are extremely aware that you don't put these herbicides and pesticides on your crops when they got a flower on them.
Because that's when the wild pollinators will be out.
Yeah, and it's already too late.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do that before the flower gets there.
Got it.
Gotcha.
So there's so much going on in agriculture. And, I learned so much from being a beekeeper in the last 18, 20 years.
Yeah, you didn't even know you were going to learn all that. Did you?
No, I had no idea. And then there's falconry, it's like, holy mackerel.
Yeah, I'm ready to shift gears.
Yeah, let's shift gears. But talking about bees, and before we shift gears into the falconry stuff, which is the main topic, we got a little sidetracked there. But if you do have a bee problem, you should call Tailored Restoration. 24-hour emergencies, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold damage, post-emergency cleaning, remodeling, and the aftermath, most likely including beehive removals, including burst pipes, overflowing toilets, downed trees, fires, pet accidents, and vandalism. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Give them a call in Anchorage at 344-1239 or hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill. Since 2008, Serrano's is Anchorage's own new generation of old cocina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed down through generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display traditional flavors. Using the best ingredients that are available and local, they focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house menu includes handcrafted corn tortillas, Serrano salsas, carne asadas, chorizo. But don't take their word for it. Experience the tradition and savor for yourself. There's 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. Check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
TreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is and get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. The Treehouse, your one-stop dispensary. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day because honestly, there's always something on deck. And guys, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining the deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseak.com, and please always remember you must be 21 years of age to enter the store.
Right on.
So, about ready to shift gears to our main topic?
The main topic of falconry.
Well, there's all kinds of topics.
There's all kinds of topics.
What are you busting out there, Mike? What do you got going on there? You got some toys and some equipment.
Okay, so Mike over here is busting out looks like some falconry equipment.
Hoods and bells
and what do we got here? Like a little
I think
spotting scope or something? Yeah, he'll be right back. Don't worry. Well, we'll keep it rolling. Looking at Mike's Instagram, it looks like the type of hawk that you have is a red-tailed hawk.
Yeah.
Okay, correct. Okay. And then looking deeper, I saw that one was possibly named Ruby, and now the new one's Lucky. Or are they both the same bird?
No. Ruby was my second hawk. I had another one in the very beginning as an apprentice. I trapped, I can't even remember his name. It was a tiercel male, and had him for the winter. I didn't catch anything with him. I was learning, and a lot of
How did you feed him if he wasn't catching stuff? Like,
I have quail.
Okay.
Frozen quail. Thaw them out and ate the quail.
You order bulk and have it, and that's like their.
They don't got that up at Pet Zoo.
No, they don't have that at Pet Zoo. Mice, you can feed them mice from Pet Zoo.
Oh, okay.
Like voles, redback voles, you can feed them that. They love it. So then I got Ruby the next year. I didn't take him through the molt through the summer. Molting is what birds do every year. They change out their feathers. And I took.
What time of year is that, Mike?
That they start molding?
Yeah.
April.
Spring
Through the summer. It takes them all summer to get rid of the feathers and grow new ones. And then I got Ruby. I trapped Ruby, and it was game on.
When you say trapped, what does that entail?
Oh, it's a process where let's see. You go out with a ball cherry trap, which is a wire mesh see-through trap that has nooses on it, made out of fishing line, 30-pound test, so that they and those nooses will be like 100 of them on top. And you have a trap door at the bottom, and this is see-through all the way around, and it's painted black, spray painted black. It's 1 centimeter squares. And so you put all this together. Mine is not a typical ball cherry trap. It's flat and rectangle. It's easier for the hawk to stand on. And you go get a couple gerbils. Gerbils run around real well. First off, I did mice, but they didn't have any black mice. So I took a marker and I made them black.
Why do you want to make them black?
Because it's a lure, right? Fishing.
Oh.
You're fishing for a hawk.
Yeah.
So you make them look like the redback voles, which I couldn't find, or a mouse. I couldn't find any black ones or brown ones. So that didn't work out real good. And the mice bite. They don't like being painted.
Yeah.
So anyway, then I got gerbils. Gerbils are really good because they don't bite and they run around like crazy. And I caught Ruby. And Ruby, I caught her at really a weird time during the day. Usually you catch them in the morning because passage, first-year birds, hunt in the morning, and then the haggards, the mature adults, they run them off after that. So I saw her out there just doing high-speed dives and pulling up. I was like, hey, that looked like a pretty neat hawk over there. And I was in Sequim, Washington, out on the Olympic Peninsula. And
What kind of hawk?
The red-tailed hawk.
Okay.
And I said, well, shoot, she's right there. And I went up the road, put my trap out in the field, and she dove on it and got caught. She comes in and sees those mice, those gerbils, which I always had in the car during trapping season, and all my gear. And she comes down and sits in a tree, and she's looking at it, and she's like, yeah, it looks pretty good to eat. Goes over there and stomps up and down on the trap and gets caught. So then you run over the way I do it, the way I was taught by Steve Lehman. And everybody in falconry has to have a sponsor for 2 years while you're an apprentice. Steve Lehman was my master falconer. So what did I do? I run over with a blanket covering me up, and I had a blanket on my head, covered up my face, so she doesn't associate me with that fear of being trapped, so she doesn't see me. And I throw the blanket over, and then I get her feet, her talons, and I tape them up with blue duct tape or blue painter's tape, so that she can't foot me. Which, if they do, it'll go right through your palm of your hand. They're sharp.
Yeah, razor sharp.
Yeah, it's wicked. And so when she did that, then you put the hood on her. You're all covered up, right? You get her head. She's going like, like that. And she's terrified. And you put the hood on her, and they calm down. Then you take them back to the truck all wrapped up. and you put a stocking on them so they're all bound up. You know, they can't move, can't hurt themselves. And you take them back to the house. I dusted her with chicken dust to get rid of the lice. They all got lice. And
with chicken dust?
Yeah, you know, lice dust, you know, for chickens.
Oh, okay.
Chicken get lice too.
Yeah.
So you dust them, and underneath the wings and on the back, and they fluff up, and they rouse their feathers, and dust goes everywhere, and it kills all the lice.
Okay.
So then I went back, and it's about a 3-week process of manning her, taming them down, getting them to trust you. So every paper cut that you incur in the beginning and all along this way, they never forget. Paper cuts, you know, death by paper cuts, right? So we use a strobe method. In a strobe, you know, a disco strobe with a rheostat on it, and you can increase the strobe frequency and reduce it. The manning technique, you're trying to get them to trust you. And everything is visual. So I'm in a completely blacked out room. No daylight, it's like a dark room for photography in the old days. You can't see any light in there. And you go in there and you flick on this strobe, and it's going flick, flick, flick. We can see, but they can't. We see at 30 frames a second. That's what a movie is. That's why a movie looks fluid motion. They see at 100 frames a second. They can't see us. We're in a dark room. This light's flicking. They can't see us, so there's no fear. They can't identify us with fear. So you start feeding them, and once they bow their head down in front of you to take food out of your fist, you got them.
They've submitted.
To a certain extent, and it just progresses after that. Each day you up the criteria. You up the criteria to eating off your fist, and then stepping over to your fist, then jumping to your fist.
Oh, now they're on you. They're touching you. They're on your hand.
And you're touching their feet. You're touching their chest. You know, hey, this ain't so bad. This thing's feeding me. I don't know. You know, it's pretty good. I don't have to worry about coyotes and great horned owls and eagles and foxes and wolverines. That's just pretty good. You know, I'm getting fed. And he touches my feet. I don't really like that, but it's not a big deal. And then pretty soon, the strobe light's coming up more and more frequency, into where they're like, oh, I'm in a room. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's not so bad. I'm getting fed. I got a good place to stay. It's warm. I don't have to worry about great horned owls. So then it progresses on to the strobe is full on. Blink, 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 blink. And they're looking. They can see everything. And they might bait, which means they'll jump off your fist, try and get away. It's fear. Well, when they're getting to that stage, their shoulders will come out. They're getting ready to fly. You can turn everything off. They can't fly in the dark.
They shut it down.
You got a foot switch. You can shut it down. Shut everything down instantly.
Just neutralize them.
Yeah, and they stop. And you start it back up again slowly. And pretty soon it's like, yeah, this ain't so bad, you know. Yeah, when I was baiting last time, I got fed a little bit. Oh, okay, that's cool. And so it progresses and progresses for a couple weeks, and pretty soon you're outside walking them around. I got dogs that I hunt with. You're introducing them to the dogs. You know, every time they see the dogs, like, oh, it's going to kill me. It's a coyote.
It's coyote, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. You tidbit them with a piece of food. I looked at that and I got food. Oh, okay. That's cool. So they get used to the dogs, and my dogs have been trained not to look at the bird. They won't make eye contact.
Oh.
What you see in your dog reads every bit of your facial expressions. So your dogs sit there and they look at you constantly, reading what you're.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
You
here?
can go like this to your dog, and it's like, whoa, what did I do?
Yeah.
You know, and so when we're training the dogs not to look at the hawks, it's like, you know, scold them. No. And they like, oh, they know what no means.
They glance at it, and you.
Oh, you can see them glance
bark
at
it. Them. No.
Yeah, exactly. And they soon learn to not look at the hawk when they're young, and it's a progressive training. So you're training the dogs and you're training hawks, and then it all comes together in the field. So you got your hawk up in a tree, She's coming back to you. You've done all this rope training, and you've got her all muscled up, and she's healthy, and she's coming to you. She's free flight, which she doesn't have any restraints on her. She's coming from a post. She's flying 30 yards away right to your fist, and she's getting food for it. And you do this at a certain time of day, like in the evening when they're hungry and they're empty, so there's more motivation to come over to you. And it's you do these things, and you learn from your sponsor that this is how you do it, and there's books written on it, and you can read the books, but then it happens, and you're learning too. So that's the gist of the whole thing of getting a bird man to free flight, and then it's training it. That now, mind you, a red-tailed hawk. Where do you see? You guys are. We have Harlans up here, but they sit up in a tree. They just sit real still up in a tree, right. And they look at the ground. They look all around. They're hunting like the ones up on the Palmer hay flats. They hunt muskrats and voles. And that's what they're looking for. So we're trying to train them to hunt rabbits.
Bigger game.
So what do you got to do? You got to show them rabbits. And there's controversy on bagging game, where you have a rabbit and you let it go and you let the hawk kill it. Mm-hmm. And what we do right now is you can train that by pulling a frozen dead snowshoe hare by the rabbit with meat attached to the neck. And it'll like, oh, that looks like something I want to eat. There's meat on it. And they'll go over and attack that rabbit. It might land beside it the first time and then jump on it. Or might, like, you pull it by it and it doesn't do anything, but it lands beside it. And then you put the hawk back up on the perch and you do it again. Then it hits the rabbit, and it wasn't really robust or there's crashing.
No reaction to it.
Well, there's no crashing and smashing the rabbit. So you do it again. And when she does it right, then she gets rewarded with the food. Mm-hmm. And it's a food reward. It happens, and then it's burned into their brain that if I hit this rabbit really hard, I get a reward of food on the neck of the rabbit, and I get to eat whatever I want, a jackpot. So that's how you train them. That's one way of training them. Then you can go out there and you can show them rabbits and show them rabbits. You got your dogs running at rabbits out there, and she's used to the dogs. She's watching the dogs, and she's not real sure about that program. And then you have your dogs out there, and they're over there, the 50 yards away, and you got a rabbit here in your backpack, and with a lanyard on it. It's sometimes not considered ethical over in England. They're not allowed to do it, but here there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's just you're training your hawk to hunt. And you let the rabbit go, and the hawk's like, hey, I know what that is. Bam! You got a hawk. It's going to kill rabbits. Mm-hmm. And you do it again the next day. You let the hawk eat its fill. Just big old crop, jackpot, I did the right thing. And that burns in their memory. Oh. And the search image is there on the cottontail or the snowshoe hare. And it's that way with ducks and pheasants and grouse and sharp-tailed grouse and prairie grouse. All these other animals that you're hunting with these wild birds of prey. They are wild. Mm-hmm. They just come back to you by their choice. So they can fly away.
When you're looking for one of these to capture or to be your hunting buddy, what are you looking for? Are you looking for like a couple-year-old one?
No, you can only catch first-year birds.
Okay.
We're not allowed to catch they call them haggards or the mature adults.
Right.
We can't catch those. We could. I have caught them, but you got to release them.
Okay. Why is that?
Those are the breeding stock.
Okay.
Those are the ones that have made it for the first year. 80 to 90% of them die in the first 6 months.
Okay.
Oh, they don't want you compromising that like natural bloodline evolution.
Where's this regulation at? Like, where could you find this?
It's in Alaska Department of Fish and Game. They have a section on falconry.
Okay. Is it in the regs book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've actually looked it up.
It's highly regulated.
For trivia.
Yeah, it's highly regulated. It's beyond belief.
So how do you know if it's a first-year bird versus, a year and a half?
Had to take a drink of whiskey.
Yeah, that's
wash
step
that sucker
one.
down, baby.
Little dry.
There you go. That sounded really refreshing.
Yeah, it's good.
Ice was clanking around in there.
That
is there any more ice in that cooler?
Yeah,
Man, I'm gonna ice down my whiskey.
You should ice that whiskey down.
I'm hot as hell, man. It's so hot in here tonight.
It is hot in here.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing the buffalo trace.
It's a sweatshop
Jack,
in here.
You got me, Jack?
Yeah, we're gonna put you to work in here. We're gonna train you.
Yeah,
bring us buffalo trace every time.
That's the Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It says on the side. Then you got to read the label about buffalo trace. What is buffalo? What's a buffalo trace? Do you know what that is?
I do not know what that is.
I'll look it up.
It's right on the
Does it
back.
say on it? Read it for us there, Jackie,
Buffalo
please.
Gotta get his headset on.
Yeah, I was just icing us up here.
Yeah, well, shoot, maybe you shouldn't stop. Maybe I should read it.
Buffalo Trace. The ancient paths of countless buffalo led American westward. Legendary explorers, pioneers, and settlers alike followed these trails, known as traces, through rugged wilderness to new lands, new adventures, and newfound freedom. One such trace, called the Buffalo Trace, crossed Kentucky River at a spot just north of the present-day Frankfort. Early pioneers settled here in 1775, and with plentiful, pure limestone water and rich river bottom loam for growing exceptional grains, distillation quickly followed, with an unparalleled reputation for creating outstanding bourbon whiskey. The Buffalo Trace Distillery today stands as one of the America's oldest distilling sites.
So you followed some buffalo game trails and made some whiskey, is what I heard?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. That's why it has that distinctive flavor.
No, it is really smooth. I'm not like
Buffalo
a big
pie?
time. I'm not a big time whiskey drinker. And Jack, thank you so very much for throwing an ice cube in that. It is really smooth though.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like the heartburn.
Yeah, I can't do whiskey.
Yeah, it's.
I would love to. I mean, there's so many beautiful bottles and beautiful whiskeys that are made, but
Yeah.
as a
You might want to note that Mike brought his own
Bag of
ice for
and
everybody
glasses.
and glasses for everybody.
yeah,
No,
Mike,
that was impressive. man.
Mike, what are you doing next Tuesday?
Yeah, well, we can talk about that for a price.
You got any room in the dually? We can come hang out and go falcon hunting with you.
Oh, you guys got a standing invitation to go hunting.
Oh man, your videos are so cool, man, and your documentation.
I'm
really
not as
impressive.
good as Connor Bacallo. He's the #1 guy.
Is that the guy that you initially showed me the videos? He's in California.
Yep. Oh, he's
His
top of the
film
line.
and all of it. Yeah, his
Yeah.
birds. He's got the music in the background. And
He's your Joe Rogan.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I give him shit about the music. Son, he plays that new stuff, and I was like, man, where's some AC/DC Thunderstruck?
yeah, right.
What's he doing?
What's Connor do?
Yeah.
Connor is a bird abatement business. He has his own business. He's in Southern California, and he has several hawks, and he's just fantastic training them and hunting them. And he'll drive an hour and a half every day after work to go fly his hawks, dark morph red tails and goshawks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it true that they're only hunting one falcon, which is the peregrine? Or is there multiple falcons people are hunting?
Oh, they have peregrines, they have aplomatos, different applications. They have Harris hawks. They're using in bird abatement. Oh, that's bird abatement, but they hunt everything from golden eagles, aplomatos, prairie falcons, tundra falcons from up here.
Oh, okay.
Harlans. They have we hunt goshawks, northern goshawks. They have all different kinds of crosses of goshawks from Finns, North American crosses, and they got Eurasian goshawks, which are a really tall Eastern Eurasian goshawk. It's like 1,300 grams hunting weight, which is, we go in grams. Mm-hmm. And then they got Harris hawks, which are hunting like a wolf pack, several at a time in a cast. It's called a cast.
Cool.
3 or 4 or 5 of them. Nothing gets away.
That's got to be deadly. I mean, there ain't nothing
gets
that
away.
survives.
And the falconer's got to be really good too. Because
Sure,
knowing
a
the
lot
different
to manage, right?
Well, different personalities of the birds, who's going to get it and what they're going to do, and you got to toss everybody a tidbit for doing what they're doing, and they
Somebody's
go
an
off
alpha, and they kind of boss everybody
and
around and all that.
it's a family, and then So yeah, it's multifaceted, and it's a lifestyle. It's you commit to this lifestyle, and so getting back to hunting Ruby, she got 55.
And Ruby's the name of the bird, right?
Yeah, named after the village on the Yukon.
Okay.
And Ruby is a goshawk.
No, Ruby was a redtail.
Redtail hawk.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And she got 55 rabbits her first year.
Wow.
How many days of hunting is that?
No, it was probably 40 or so days, probably 40 some days of hunting.
And
That's
all
a
that
lot
is
of
with the
time.
dogs.
Yeah, with one dog.
Oh, with one. Okay.
Now I got 3.
Okay.
And that was down in Washington. Those were cottontails. And you got to get permission on everybody's property. So you got to go talk to the farmers. We call it walk, knock, and talk.
And they want those out of there. Those cottontails and stuff where they're eating up their gardens and stuff.
Yeah, that's a portion of it, but usually it's not a problem. They're usually into blackberries, so they're not a garden there. But they do eat the gardens up, and it's not an abatement program that we're doing. It's just hunting. And then I got Lucky. Lucky was named Freya. Freya, my kids named her. That war goddess of Swedish or Nordic folklore.
Yeah, Viking lore, right?
Viking lore, yeah. And she was Freya for a while.
Then she got captured.
Yeah, then
she was Freya, and then she
got captured. Yeah.
That's good.
I wasn't sure if that one was gonna hit.
Finally,
a couple times around the room.
I'm not the quickest, guys. Please forgive
that
me.
buffalo trace us off.
I mean, it's
that's some good stuff, huh?
Just over here sweating it out.
So I manned up Lucky, but her name was Freya. That's
and
after
you
I
captured her?
Yeah, I captured her over in
Spinard.
No, I was down in lower 48 in Snohomish County.
Okay, yeah.
Over next to Laconer.
Okay. And she's
off of Highway 20
as well?
She was a red tail.
What state is
I
that?
was driving by her.
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, I was driving by this one area, and I hadn't seen any that were catchable, but that was a funny thing. There's a red tail up on a telephone pole, and I throw my trap out at this intersection, and it was the middle of, Al-Qaeda roadside bombs and everything going on, and I was like, it's no big deal to me, but I turn around and there's this big black car with blacked out windows and antennas all over it, parked behind my truck.
Oh,
And I went, oh God, here we go again. Because I always get some reaction when you're trapping a hawk, they don't know what you're doing. And this guy is about 8 foot tall, unfolds himself out of this truck, and I'm looking up at him, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is big.
It's a real haggard.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is huge. And he says, what are you doing? I said, to him, I bet you wonder what I'm doing.
Oh,
He goes, yeah, I was wondering what you're doing, dropping something off the side of the road there like that. And I said, well, I'm a falconer, and I'm, wait a second, here's my card. Here's a card. They like paperwork. He goes, oh, so you're over in Squim. Why are you over here? I said, because the birds are over here. They're not over in Squim. He goes, oh, can you do that? I said, yeah, I can, because I'm a falconer. It's a federal permit. Okay. Come here. I'll show you what I'm doing. I walk him over there, and there's a trap with a couple of gerbils in there running around. I said, you see that hawk over there on that pole that just now flew away? I was trying to trap that. He goes, oh, that's cool. And he walked backwards to his car.
Let me keep an eye on this guy.
He wasn't trying to get cut. He was like, no.
He got in and left. He was a good guy, And then I went down the road and I caught Freya. And anyway, I manned her up. And then later on in the season, she was in a tree and then I lost sight of her. And she had flown about 200 yards to the west along this tree line. And I went over to get her and call her down because I was going to go to another area. She was behind a fence, and it's like, oh, God, I know these guys, but I don't need to be climbing an 8-foot barbed wire fence, to get if she kills anything over in there. So I was trying to call her back. And there wasn't anybody coming on the highway. And I was standing on the opposite side of the highway from her. And about the time that she decides to come to me, you hold your glove up, she comes and parallels the road and cuts across the road as a truck comes by and smacks her. I went, holy fuck. She goes bouncing up in the air about 20 feet and lands about 15, 20 feet away from me on my left. On her back, she's feet are up in the air, dead bird. I'm like, son of a bitch. And I run over there, and the guy didn't even turn on his brake lights, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And a Ford pickup truck bounced off her windshield. How do you not have a 2-pound bird hit your windshield?
Oh, his windshield was broken.
So I'm in tears. So I go over there, and it's like, she comes to. You know, her mouth's open, her eyes are closed, and she's like, you know, I'm running back, and I'd already put the dogs away, and I'm running back about a half a mile to the truck, and I'm calling my sponsor, which was down in Lower Whidbey Island. He says, well, I'm taking a bath right now, so get your ass out of the bath, and, you know, you need to come help me with this bird to see if she's, you know, broke up or what. So he comes, I meet him at this bar, and he feels her up and looks at her, and, you know, he's feeling her all around. This guy's been doing this for 60-some years.
Yeah, he knows his birds.
Oh, yeah. He's done rehab. He's the foremost premier falconer in the United States. Everybody knows him around the world, Steve Lehman. He's feeling her up, looking at her, and it's like, God, nothing's broke, you know? I said, yeah. He says, she seems all right, but she's probably, you know, pretty beat up. And so then what did we do? I said, look at her bells. They have bells, you know, this little bell right here. They were crushed. These copper bells were crushed flat. I said, that's how hard she hit the truck, or the truck hit her. So I changed her name to Lucky. Lucky to be alive.
Oh, she lived that.
She lived that. She's been killing rabbits ever since. I've had her for 4 years now.
So the point of the bell, you put the bell on her ankle, correct?
Yeah.
And that's so that you know where she's at?
Yeah, I can hear her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you go to call her in, you just put the arm up and they know, is there a sound you make?
Oh, no, I just put my arm up and she'll fly over to me.
Now, what if someone else just put their arm up?
She won't fly to him.
She knows it's you.
I caught my buddy's bird up here in Alaska. He was over looking for her, and she's up in a tree over there. I had a piece of meat, and I just put my arm up, and she came down to me.
Is that Steve?
Yep, that's Steve Lehman.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
South Whidbey Island.
All right.
I was watching a Netflix thing. I'm sure you probably know about it. I forgot the name of it, but it's the culture. I want to say it's the Mongolian culture.
Oh yeah,
and they're really big in they raise up their sons and their kids falconry, and those birds are huge. Are those golden eagles that they're hunting with?
Yeah, they are. They're golden eagles. Yeah,
those things are. That was an amazing documentary.
Yeah, it is. It gives you a good insight to the natural history of the birds, you know, and what we're seeing.
Which goes way back.
Oh,
way,
well, this
way
sport
back.
goes 4,000 or 5,000 years back, and you know, it's passed down from person to person, you know, in that culture. And here it's pretty new in the United States, but it's still old. But one of the things that not only we are out there just, you know, flying birds around or whatever, it's interacting with the natural history, watching that unfold before our eyes.
Yeah.
You know, the birds interacting with the dogs moving game for the birds, and the birds paying attention to the dogs, watching the game move and positioning themselves to intercept the game, and that attack that the bird goes through. It's incredible. It's incredible. And then, you know, the bird is a wild bird.
Yeah.
So it flies away and hunts, but it comes back to you.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's quite an honor.
Now, do you have to train the bird? No, if in the wild, when they go and they kill a rabbit or something, they're killing it with their talons, correct? They're not like biting it. They're just pretty much crushing it. How do they actually dispatch of a
momentum, right?
Is
they
it
come down and crush it?
Well, both. A lot of times, Lucky will hit the rabbit so hard it'll break their back. Probably about 50% of the time, I'd say that happens, especially with if she comes from hitting snowshoe hares down to hitting cottontail rabbits in the lower 48 when I go down there in January.
Because they're bigger.
Yeah, the snowshoe hares are a lot bigger. They're like 3 times the size of the cottontails, and she just whacks them and just, she's hitting them with such force. We call them flying bricks, the red-tailed hawks.
Okay.
I mean, it just sounds like busting through cover. It sounds like somebody just threw a brick from 30 feet up in the air as hard as they could coming down through the cover, and they hit these rabbits, and it's just over with. But they can't bring it back to you. It's too heavy.
Okay.
And that's usually a question. Do they bring them back to you? No, they don't bring them back to us. And a lot of times, if they don't kill the rabbit, then we dispatch the rabbit, and then she'll get traded off or get a little bit of the rabbit. Depends on how long you hunted. There's all kinds of factors going into it. But I carry quail with me all chopped up, and she knows what it is. And I can give her a quail or a piece of quail, and she'll trade off, or I can cut a piece of the rabbit leg off, and she'll take that and turn around and go over there and eat it. I'll put the rabbit away, and then I'll go get her, and she'll jump up on my fist with the rabbit. I'll grab the rabbit leg, and she'll step up onto my fist, and I'll let her eat a little bit of that and then take it away from her, and she'll like, oh, okay, and she'll do her thing. She'll do several things. She'll feek her beak. She'll clean her beak on my glove, and then she'll sit there and she'll rouse all her feathers, and she's ready to go hunt again.
Yeah. Full reset there.
And that's her telling you that she's ready?
Yeah, and that she's ready to go, and then I can put her up in a tree, let her go up in a tree, and it might be 15 minutes where she just sits around and looks and see what's going on. Before they commit to the ground, they'll survey the area for coyotes and
make sure after they make it, there's nothing going to come in and get them.
And they know that when I'm there and the dogs are there, it's just a teamwork. That she knows that nobody's going to come in on her, and so they're more apt to do what they do in the wild, but quicker. With no reservation.
You must have a mean rabbit stew recipe.
Oh yeah, we got some really good ones we share with each other. Would you like to see Ruby?
Oh, 100%.
Lucky.
Yeah, well, let's bring Lucky out.
Lucky's here?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, bring Lucky out.
Yeah,
and anyone that's listening, we're here at about 1 hour and 56 minutes. We're going to bring Lucky out onto the camera. And we'll just bring Lucky out right here, and people will be able to see her right on the camera. Yeah, go ahead and get her, and we'll keep chatting while you... Do we need to do anything special?
Where's the camera? Right here?
Right there.
I mean, but
it's getting all of this. So if you just sit with her and hold her right there, people will be able to see her.
I'll come over and sit by you, maybe.
Yeah, come on.
All right. Hang on a second. I'll go get her.
Come sit on my lap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, he brought Ruby.
Yeah, that's cool. Is she outside?
Oh, she's right there.
No, she's right there.
Okay, so he brought Ruby. It looks almost like the size of a suitcase. It's a metal container that has a handle on the top like a suitcase would, and there's obviously air holes on the top.
A bunch of perforations.
We will have pictures of Ruby's transfer box. It almost kind of looks like a mini locker, like a high school locker. Oh, she's a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah, that's a big hawk.
Oh, wow. So he's grabbing her out there outside of the studio, and it's going to take a minute for her to maybe get used to what's going on in here. Wow.
You might need to help him with the headphones, Daniel.
Okay.
This is all new. This is all new to her.
Damn, she's really big.
Now, when they're juveniles, their chest there's a white bib. It's pure white, and she's a mature female.
Mike, is it okay if I walk in front of you?
Oh yeah. She's all right. She's cool.
How much would you say that she weighs?
How much do you think she weighs?
12.
2 pounds.
I want to say 7 pounds.
He's close.
Dude,
She
really?
weighs probably about 2.5 pounds. She weighs 1,300 grams right now, maybe a little bit more.
It's that down.
And then she, her flying weight, we call it flying weight, will be, I'll probably get her down to about 1,100 grams this in August, the end of the month, by building her muscle up and exercising her. And then she'll be ready to go, and I'll go hunt her with the dogs when she's ready to go.
She's very calm.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Now, does she sense your energy as well, and she stays as calm as you do? Have you had her like come off the arm and try to like fly around a room or something?
Oh yeah, she might.
Is this Ruby?
No, this
is Lucky.
Lucky. Ruby's gone. Ruby.
That's right, bro. That's right. Yep.
She's looking around.
Yeah, she's highly interested in what's going on.
Their vision is 6 to 7 times better than ours. At an eighth of a mile, they can see, or a quarter mile, they can see a newspaper. What we see in newspaper, she can see the print.
Wow.
At an eighth of a mile, that's what it is. Yeah, they can see the print on a newspaper. So it's all vision, everything. They can hear really well. Goshawk's extremely auditory, extremely. They can hear everything in the forest.
She heard me squiggle back here.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't squeal like a mouse. Her feet will grab my arm and with 700 pounds of force.
Oh, that's what she can do with her talons.
Yeah. And then their keel, right here, we feel that to feel how in shape they are, what their status is. There's a keel bone.
Kind of like a chest bone?
Yeah, it's your sternum.
Okay.
How do you exercise her?
I do vertical jumps, and then she pulls heavy rope. She pulls heavy rope from the perch to me across the yard, 30, 40 feet. And that it's pretty strenuous because the rope's dragging along the ground, and it's attached to her jesses. Get up here.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Some of the things that this is a leash, and you got a leash extender, and you got that's the leash down there with a barrel swivel. She's gonna mute.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Clean it up.
Yeah, get the cleanup crew in here, but they'll do that before when they get a little nervous or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's around her feet are called anklets, and those go on, and that's how we hold on to them. All this paraphernalia will come off except the jesses and the anklets for hunting. And she goes and sits in a tree and follows the dogs and they can see everything. Everything.
She's much bigger than I anticipated.
Yeah, totally.
I'd say she's about how tall? 1.5 feet?
Yeah. Yeah.
16 inches or so?
You can see her red tail.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I mean, it's when they get that in their second year, the first year, when they come up the second year when they're molting, they'll get their red tail.
Now, is that a sign of maturity?
Yeah.
Is that kind of when they've hit their okay? And what's the lifespan of that bird?
A buddy of mine had one that just passed away. It's 15 years. Another gal I know that down in Washington, she's got one that's 15, 16 years old. I've seen them 27 years old.
Wow.
Now, if you were going to hunt with multiple birds, you need to have them captured around the similar time, or could you introduce a new bird, years in?
I'm in the process of catching a goshawk right now, and so it'll be entered, depends on when I catch it, September, end of August.
Yeah.
I got to man it. I got to train it to rabbits and then take it out and hunt it and hope it comes back.
Now, will you hunt them together?
No.
Oh, one, take one or the other.
Separately. Now, with my goshawk last year, his name was Twitch. He was a tiercel, which means male. And I hunted ducks in the morning. Well, I hunted rabbits with her in the morning, and I hunted ducks here in town with him at night.
Oh, wow.
In the evening. So I get, ducks and rabbits every day.
Yeah.
Where's he at now?
He's gone.
He flew away.
Yeah, he passed away.
Oh, he passed away.
Yeah.
Now, do they is there cases where they might fly away and not come back, and they decide they're done?
Yeah, if they don't like you.
Okay. Depending on.
Have you had that happen?
No.
But it does happen.
And where?
Yeah. They say if your red tail flies away, that bird don't like you.
It's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. My bird flew away. Your bird doesn't like you. Sorry about that.
So for the majority of time in your home, is she in that container? Does she have free range in the house? Or
no, she'd shit all over the place. She's in the house. I'd be really in a dog house.
Okay.
No, she's got a run line pen that's 20 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 8 feet tall, and she's attached to rope. Goes from one perch at one end to a perch at the other end. She can come back and forth and exercise all she wants. She's got a bath pan in there. She takes a bath, and she's got another perch in between that she can get on that perch, and in between the two other perches, she sleeps back in the corner, and she comes out and suns herself all day long and preens and eats. And like I said, she's probably about 1,350, 1,400 grams right now, and she's really heavy, but she's making feathers and enjoying the life. Easy. It's easy.
So where are you going to go try to catch this goshawk?
Right here in town.
Yeah.
There's one up, there's some nest and some family group birds that are real close to here.
Okay.
Up on the hillside.
All right.
And so.
Where do you even start looking, Mike? Like, what do? You just drive around, and do you got some people that give you some pointers or some tips or something?
Where the birds are?
Yeah, like where do you even start?
Well, we know where the traditional nests are, and we keep track of those. And then as they have babies, we know that hen, that goshawk's sitting on a nest, and it's a matter of time. And then the babies fledge out, and now they're flying around. I've got them coming over to me, and I'm feeding them mice. And they come over and eat the mice. So it's hard to catch a brancher, family group bird, but because the parents are feeding them all the time, so they're not real hungry. Yeah,
right.
I'll put her away. She's had enough.
Oh, thanks for sharing her.
Yeah.
She's a beauty.
Yeah.
Lucky girl, man.
She is a lucky.
She pinged off
she
that
is
truck.
lucky. That's right. That's right.
She shook it off, and she's at it.
Yep, she's killing.
Yeah.
Now, when do you utilize the what did you call this?
The hood?
The hood.
When you need to do something pretty drastic with them that's going to freak them out, you can put a hood on them. I don't hood her typically. I should. It's one of my things that I am lax at. But with the goshawk, he'll be hooded. Or it will be hooded, the female, from the get-go.
Okay.
It's really mandatory in that.
Yeah. You want me to help you with the headphones here? Yeah.
Oh, I can get them off.
Okay.
Take 5.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're gonna put Lucky away. Wow. That is a beautiful, beautiful bird.
Yeah, she's pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
She is bigger. I mean, I've seen his videos and photos, before having Mike come in, and he's even got videos he's got like a rabbit leg in his hand. So he's got like the foot, and then maybe like a hind quarter or a shoulder, like
a little leg of it
from the carcass, and he's talking, and she's like ripping flesh off of her. And the perspective on a video or photo gives you an idea, but like actually seeing her 5 feet away in a room tells you like, man, she's a pretty big bird. And you Mike, you had sent me some videos of her, and I think that was Lucky that took out the mallard.
No, that was Twitch. Twitch gets the mallard.
Twitch. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a little.
Is he bigger than her?
No, she's flying weight was in the wintertime about 11-20.
That's a female too? Twitch is?
No, he was a tiercel male.
Oh, okay.
And his flying weight was 650 grams.
Okay.
So that was half the weight.
And would get the mallards?
Oh, yeah. He'd burn them down fast and just ride them to the ground. It's like mallard surfing,
Wow.
It's sometimes they'd take him back to the water, and then I'd have him inside the truck drying out while he's eating a mallard breast or leg. Mm-hmm. He'd be in the front of the blower, just like, this is cold.
Did you have to fish him out of the water?
Oh, yeah, you're in the water after him because he's surfing. He's on top of the water, and the mallard's underwater.
Right.
And it's just dragging him around. He's
and he just stays right on her.
He's like, I could use some help here. Get in the water. So in the wintertime, you'll see us out there with waders on.
So
I have been completely soaked in the winter. And you know how, as Alaskans, we don't want to get wet, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to get wet in the winter.
Definitely.
Worst of the
Everything that you've ever been told, I've done. It's like, and my buddy's out there. He's going along thin ice on his belly, trying to get his bird out of the water.
Like on a thin lake or something, or a pond, or just
yeah. And he's an Anchorage fireman. And he's out there like, this ain't good.
Everything I was trained to do is not. I'm not supposed to be out here.
No. So he's out there swimming on top of the ice. You know, he's like, this ain't very good. Going to the open water to throw the duck out.
It's funny what a goddamn habit will have you out there doing, right? Or a hobby. I mean,
yeah. I don't know many hobbies that'll do that. No.
Oh, man.
So I realize that you have a.
Yeah, let's talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a what you see the police using to catch people speeding.
It looks like a radar gun, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And it's not. It is a receiver.
Oh, okay.
So to find our birds when they go out of sight, we have this is a 434 megahertz.
You would call that a receiver?
Yeah, this is the receiver. And then
Did you get a picture of that, Daniel?
Yeah, I did. So for the people that are just listening, it looks just like the handle of a radar gun would do, but it has like 3 prongs that stick out on both sides, like
a receiver for like an antenna.
yeah,
exactly.
There you go.
Yes.
It's a direction finder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold that
Like
out.
that.
Stay right there, Mike. Let me get a picture. No, other way. Turn. Yep. And then, yep. Okay, cool.
This is a transmitter. It has a 2032 battery in it. Mm-hmm. And it goes beep, beep, and it'll last for 40 hours. And when it gets low, it'll go beep, beep, and beep, beep, beep. And you'll hear that on here. Mm-hmm. It goes, this is where you hear the noise that this makes. This is attached to the bird.
To the bird, yep.
And this is when she goes out of sight and you're just trying to figure out where the heck she went. And it's like, oh, she's over there. Or she's down on a rabbit. And you're like, I know she's on a rabbit. I can't find her.
Yeah.
So.
And the dogs won't find her for you?
No. You want to find your bird before something else, a predator, finds it.
Yeah, okay.
The dogs on the ground, a lot of times they're running a rabbit, and it's not necessarily the rabbit that she got. So she hit the ground, and you lost sight of her, and so you're trying to find her real quick. Because if it takes you 30 minutes to find her, you might find a pile of feathers. You know, a coyote might get her, because we got coyotes that'll come in on them. But my dogs won't. My dogs will mill around. When the dogs go silent in the same area, that means she's on a rabbit. They just go silent because the toy's dead.
Right.
So that's how I find her. But she'll be, in this brush and you can't see it. But that beeper's like, oh, she's over there.
Yeah.
And it has a gain on it so you can tell how far away she is. Mm-hmm. And, there she is. And then the bell, she has a bell, and you can hear her stomping her feet on the rabbit and moving it. Mm-hmm. And you can hear the bell sometimes. And it's really good if you have a bell on the tail or a bell attached to the neck. Mm. That'll help you find her because she's plucking it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. She's plucking, and you can hear that bell ringing, and you go right to her before something else does. And that's our concern.
Now, if you wait too long, does she begin to eat the rabbit?
Oh, yeah. She'll eat as much as she can.
Okay, till you come get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, no, I've had enough. No, she'll eat as much as she can. She'll have a crop out here. Looks like Dolly Parton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She'll be stuffed full. I've had them do that. I get there too late, and she's like, holy mackerel, we're done for the day. Because when they're all cropped up, we call it, they're done eating.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to hunt anymore.
There's no more motivation.
No. She's got everything she wants. It's all food motivated. She'd go up and sit in a tree all night, come back and get her in the morning.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen where you couldn't even get her to come down?
Oh, yeah. I've had her.
Sleep in the truck and then come back out the next day?
No, not that. But twice last year, I was up at Sheep Mountain, and the guy that owns Sheep Mountain Lodge, Mark, he takes these guys up in a helicopter to the top of Sheep Mountain. They jump out with paragliders. And she goes like that, which is when they do that, when they're cocking their head to look up in the sky, it's like an eagle.
Oh, predator.
The eagles will kill her. So she knows. She looks up in the sky and it's like, she bolts. to the other side of the valley.
Oh,
I couldn't get
like
her.
across the other,
Across the
like
road.
out of sight.
Out of sight. All I had was a telemetry, and Mark and I went up the next morning, trying to find her with the helicopter. Now she's down there somewhere. I could telemetry, home in on her. But how are you going to get down there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
Friggin'
this
ravine down there,
no
and
way.
she's down in there somewhere, and so I'm like, screw it, I got to go home. So
This is Lucky we're talking about.
yeah, this one. So I gave Mark my receiver. I said, hey, if she,
Give this
here's
thing a
how you
couple.
use this thing. Here's how you use it. And he goes, oh, okay. He's a pilot. He's a smart guy. He figures it out. The next day, third day, he calls me. She's here. She's here, man. She's right here. I was up here getting gas for the helicopter, but she's here. She's on this side of the ravine. She's here. He's so cranked up, excited.
Yeah, he's like, your bird's back, man. Your bird, get up here.
So 2.5 hour run. I make it in 2 hours. I'm up there 5 minutes away from the lodge. I'm just down the road, right?
Just pulling caribou, like just about there.
You're right there, and I can talk to him on the radio. I said, where are you? He goes, and I pull up to the runway. He goes, no, I'm down on the road. She's down here. And I see him down there right across from the lodge. He's pointing like that. She's right there somewhere, but I can't see her. So I grab it, and I think she's got a squirrel. Oh, okay. So I go down there, and there she is. She's tearing the shit out of a squirrel, those little pine squirrels.
Yeah.
And it's like, I stayed out there until 9:30 that night. She ain't coming down.
It's dark by then, right?
It got dark.
Yeah.
She swooped down at me and went into the base of it, right into a tree trunk, and sat there the rest of the night. And I was like, oh shit, I'll just come get you tomorrow morning when you're hungry. So the next morning, I go out there at 6:30. There she is, still in the tree. And I throw a rabbit out, and she's like, yeah, I'll eat that. She comes down, wham, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. It's all right.
It's all right.
Hits the rabbit. I pick her up. She's happy. I'm happy. But that night, Mark and I are sitting there drinking a beer at the lodge. He goes, you want to know where your bird got the squirrel? I said, yeah. You're not going to be mad, are you? I said, no. John shot a squirrel and fed her.
Oh.
I said, John, the Volvo guy? And he goes, yeah. He was out there working on Volvos, He's got a Volvo dead graveyard up there, and he sees this bird comes over to him and sits right above him. He goes, that bird looks hungry. So he gets his .22 and he shoots a squirrel, throws it over on a Volvo hood. The bird grits it and goes across the road as I'm getting there. That's all happened.
Wow.
And I'd driven like a madman for 2.5 hours. She's been gone for almost 4 days. And she's hungry, and she comes back and gets a squirrel from John. It's like, no, man, it's just good stories.
So her instincts, though, brought her back
back to
where she started. Like,
Yeah.
she was wired and knew, like, something about she needed
knows
to come
it-
back to you. She needed to come back to her,
Familiarity.
familiarity.
She gets out there overnight and she'll say, there's great horned owls out there. There's eagles, too.
I saw one this weekend.
Yeah, they're
A
out.
great horned owl. Yeah. It was the craziest thing. I woke up Sunday morning. I stepped out of the cabin, and I walked down the little steps to take a piss, and I see something like moving out of the corner of my eye, and it's like just below. There's like timber all around the cabin, and then there's like 6 foot of, like the tree's bare from like 6 foot up, and then it like folds down, right? So I'm like looking through and I see something move and I'm like, I'm like kind of still waking up and I'm looking, I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, man, that looks like a big ass critter like standing on a tree. And I'm like, then I'm coming to my senses. I'm like, oh, it's a bird. I'm like, that's an awful big bird. Like that, like what could that be out here? It's not an eagle.
Yeah.
You don't see eagles. It's not a seagull. There's magpies and crows and camp robbers and jays, and it's like I'm checking all the boxes real quick in my head over a few seconds, and I'm like, man, what the hell is that? And then it does that like crazy owl head thing where it just like pivots its head over and looks at me. And I'm like, oh shit. And it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking, man, they're like nocturnal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it jumps off the top of this brush and then flies over the pond and then swoops up into the trees. And I was like, wow, I mean, you just don't see owls very often.
No, they're pretty quiet.
Yeah, and I mean, this thing had a wingspan, just guessing, of 30 inches. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it was a nice sized bird.
Yeah.
And I had to guess, like maybe he was just it was wrapping up its evening thing. But I mean, it just kind of, well, and my cousin's beagle was out running around. And I was almost wondering, like, man, was that thing out because the beagle was, his beagle jumps out.
He ain't after a beagle. He's after mice.
Oh, I figure the beagle's too big.
Yeah.
But
he's stirring stuff up.
Okay.
That's the natural history. That hawk, that owl is using that beagle to move stuff. And he's watching where it is, watching where it's going.
Because the beagle ran up from the pond. Because I looked at him and I'm like, man, Rowdy, what are you doing down there? He's kind of far from the cabin. And I think like most beagles, their noses just take them. They start just like drifting away because they smell something. And then all of a sudden that owl popped out and I put the two and two together. I'm like, oh shit, man, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But that was pretty neat. And so those will hunt hawks. And
what's the hierarchy?
Well, it's golden eagle. They're the sky dragons. They'll kill everything in their territory.
And we see those up in the brooks, man. Those are big birds.
Yeah, and then you got eagles. Bald eagles, same way, but not. It depends on where you are. Like if you went down to Homer, they probably wouldn't go after your hawk, but
they're like a vulture, more like just
but I've had
style.
Lucky bound up with two eagles down in Washington this last winter, and then she went up to the top of a tree and screamed like I'm a badass, and stay away from me. And red tails will sometimes run off bald eagles, but golden eagles will chase them down and kill them. And then it's, owls will get a red tail hawk at night. They'll come in on them, and a goshawk, they'll come in on them. They'll get a goshawk
catch
too.
them off guard.
Yeah, the owls, the great horned owls. They're a menace at night for the birds. That's why we don't like them to be out at night. They don't like being out at night because that's why they like coming back
they're
like
exposed.
us. Yeah, they're exposed. And so then it's on down, the red tail, and then on everything else is below that. Goshawks are pretty bad, but they're mostly a forest bird, and they stay away from everybody. They don't go after red tails typically.
Are the goshawks the one that make that like that Hollywood sound, like wah, like that? Like
that's the red tail hawk.
Okay.
Everything you hear an eagle, you see an eagle soaring, or
like that.
You know what eagles sound like?
Yeah.
But they do a red tail scream in there for an eagle, but nobody knows what it is.
No,
I think that's what eagles sound like.
You're right, but it's the red tail. The sound you hear of like, we're going into the
like
west,
in Hollywood,
like Disney.
you hear this like.
That's a red tail hawk.
Okay, because I hear them where I go moose hunting up in the interior. You'll see this.
Yeah, those are Harlans up there.
Yeah, they'll fly and they have the long tail off the back.
Well,
they're not real big.
That's a goshawk.
Okay,
likely,
okay. They're not big, but they do this like soar thing that they do. But when they fly over, every once in a while you hear them.
Well, those are probably Harlans.
Okay,
And
but they make that Hollywood sound. I'm like, holy shit, that's
a
the
Harlan.
sound. That's the one.
That's a Harlan.
Okay.
I was just going to show you this stuff. When I lost my bird a couple times, and the goshawk spent the night in the forest one night, and it's not, a couple nights he did. GPS.
Wow.
A GPS transmitter and a GPS receiver, and it can be received on your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
Real quick, on the GPS receivers, the equipment, you sent me a video of your dogs, and they had antennas on them too.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
That's GPS.
Okay, so similar to this stuff here.
Yep.
So you got a transmitter for your bird, and you got transmitters for your dogs.
Right. And I got a receiver for both.
So you're trying to manage
Everything.
dog, bird, keep an eye on everything. Like, I mean, that's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and it used to not be that difficult because a long time ago they didn't have
of course
GPS and transmitters on your dogs. The dogs were barking, so you knew where they were.
Yeah.
And the birds, you had bells on them, and that was the extent of figuring it out. And you lost birds every once in a while.
Yep.
So this helped not lose birds, and because we spend a lot of time training them and hunting with them, and to lose one is
it's devastating because you got a lot of time invested and you love them. I mean, that's more than just
they're our hunting buddies.
right.
Yeah.
And there is a certain amount of affection that goes into that.
Oh, I'm sure.
And and I mean, we take care of them 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And they like. Some people will say that your hawk doesn't like you, but I tend to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Now it does. It is a food relationship, but there is a point where that hawk likes being around you.
Well, why did Lucky come back across that ravine?
She likes me.
Right.
She was scared by the paragliders, and she went off and hid, and she probably killed a rabbit out there.
Oh, I'm sure she was still
She
hungry.
knows how to do it. She knows the area. She took off, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm out of here with those eagles up there, and so yeah. And she spent. I think she killed a rabbit. One place I hunt, and I lost her, and her transmitter died in the cold. It was about 7 degrees, and the batteries don't last that long. But I'm always putting fresh batteries in before I go out every time, and it just died, and I lost her, and I was out there. She was out there 2 nights. It was up at on the Point McKenzie area, and a buddy of mine says, "Well, I'll go look for her," and I'd already been out there the next day looking for her. He went out the following day, and he was in his Jeep, brand new Jeep. His wife's in the right seat, and he's on his phone. He pulls over, and he's on his phone. He catches this glimpse of something going across. He goes, "Was that a hawk?" She goes, "I think so." And it's sitting up there in a tree, and it's Lucky. She saw him, comes over to his car and sits there, and he goes, "I got a quail." He steps out of the car, and he doesn't even have a glove. And she comes down and hits the quail on his hand.
Oh, wow.
And he calls me, "I got her." I said, "I'm right there." And so we got some.
No puncture wounds?
He might have. And then he has her in the car, and he goes, "Well, I'm going to drive back." I said, "Don't go anywhere. She's going to go nuts in that car." She had one Jess on. She'd lost the other one.
Oh.
And he said, "I don't even have a hood or anything or nothing." I said, "I just came out here," and he's got puncture wounds in the leather. Where she tried to get out the window.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, look at this." I said, "Oh man, I'm sorry." He goes, "No, it's a pretty good story. That's okay." It's okay. Yeah.
So we talk about critters in tearing up cars. Let's talk about those dogs.
Oh God,
Yes.
He just saw my car.
Well, we just fixed your truck.
Yeah.
All right. And he comes
And a fine job you did.
Oh, well, I didn't personally fix it, but the boys in the back did a good job and got that dually back on the road. But so he sends me a video, and I notice in the video, so he's in the driver's seat of his truck, and you can see in the background his headliner and his pickup is like ripped up and like hanging in the corner. And I'm like, I immediately assume I'm like either like bird or dog, or like he's got all these critters in his truck. So I'm thinking something tore it up. And I saw the video. We had the truck in the shop for a couple of days. I never looked at it. And so he comes to get his truck today. I'm finishing up an email, and he walks in, "Brandon, come on out here." And he did his thing. We went out and we're talking about coming to the
It really
studio
looks
tonight.
great, man. My truck looks better than it ever
and
has.
he's like,
Thank
"Check
you."
this out." So we go to the driver's side, and his wind deflectors. And if you know what wind deflectors are, they're the little plastic drip guards that are double-sided taped over your windows. So when you roll your window down a little bit, the rain doesn't get in.
Rain deflectors?
Yeah.
We
drip.
Drip guards, rain
Yeah.
deflectors, vent visors.
Okay,
They
you
have
said
like
wind deflectors.
they're that too. I
Really?
mean,
Okay.
I
So it doesn't get wind
don't know
inside.
what the hell they're called. I mean, a drip guard is probably what they really are.
Yeah.
I think it's called vent visors is the official name. Let's not get off on the topic.
How much are those, and where do you put them? How do they go on there?
So there is evidence of there were 2 drip guards on that driver's side, but they're gone, and the tape is still in the truck. And he's like, "Look at this!" And he opens up the rear door, and the headliner's hanging down. And so, elaborate those dogs. So
last winter I only needed one dog, and so I left one dog in the car. Now I have 3 dogs, but one dog we think got killed by a lynx, and
Big Roan.
yeah, Big Roan. So I had Jasmine in the car, and I was using Dixie, and Jasmine wanted to go hunting really bad too. And in all it's not her fault. I should have had her in a kennel. But, you know, it's Alaska, and you can't put them in the back when it's 7 degrees, and I had them up in the front, and I just had the window cracked so she could get some fresh air. And I come back, and that drip guard is cracked and busted, and I look inside, and the headliner is chewed, and the door seal is chewed and ripped. And I went, oh, son of a bitch. Oh, it's nobody's fault but mine, you know. And I was pissed, and so then, yeah, it was not good. And it's like, well.
So Dixie just was ripping to shreds. She was basically trying to
Jasmine,
get out,
yeah.
or Jasmine was trying to get out of that little seal between the two windows.
She wanted to go hunt, man.
That's what I said to man. Like, the one dog got taken out, and the other one was like, bullshit. Like, I'm coming.
Well, these dogs, the first one I paid for, Big Roan, and that's an undisclosed amount of money, but it was pretty darn good deal.
He was a stud too.
And these are so people know, we didn't say what kind of dogs. They're jagd beagle.
Your Jagd Terrier. Jagd Terrier Beagle. JADG. Jagd means hunter in German. And they take them down a notch and put a real good nose on them by adding a beagle into them. And then they're manageable for falconry, and they're really good and tenacious. They got more hunt in one leg than any dog's got in his whole body.
They're very compact. What are they, like maybe a 20-pound dog?
20-pound, 25-pound dog.
Okay. Big Roan looked like he was
27
the bigger
pounds.
size.
Yeah,
okay.
he was bigger. These two girls are his sisters. I have 3 of them now. And the girls, the first year hunting with Roan, I didn't get any rabbits. The second year, I got 55, and my sponsor says, "You need another dog. You're just working these dogs and these birds." You know, I was out in the field 5 hours a day, and it's really dense brush. He says, "You need another dog." I said, "I don't have another dog." He says, "Well, I'll let you use mine." Then his got run over by a car, and then the season ended. And Justin, the guy that I got the dogs from, which is also a Steve Lehman Prodigy sponsored falconer, master falconer now, and his wife. So he says, you can borrow one of my dogs this year. Oh, cool. Which one? He goes, well, either one you want. Just take them hunting. I can't hunt them. But you can only hunt with 2 dogs. You can't hunt with 3. I said, why not? He says, nobody hunts with 3. It's too much. I said, what do you mean? He said, Bethany said no. She's the boss.
Is that his wife?
Oh,
yeah. He says,
okay.
Nobody can hunt with 3 dogs. And anyway, there may be some discussion of the way that came across. So that's the way it came across to me. I said, okay. So I take Dixie. That's his dog. Jasmine is her dog.
Okay.
Oh.
But they're litter mates to Roan. So I take Dixie out. And I'd hunting with Dixie every other day, you know, or every day, and I'd hunt with Jasmine the next day and leave Dixie home. Well, Dixie chewed her way out of a welded wire fence. And he goes, you got to take Dixie when you take Jasmine. I can't deal with this because they'll chew my fence up. They chew my headliner out. They'll tear my car apart. and you know, it's like they got to go hunting. You got to take both of them. No more of this one or the other.
Yeah.
I thought you said I couldn't hunt with 3. We changed our mind. I said, okay.
So when the one dog got taken out, the other dog knew full FOMO mode.
Oh,
like,
they knew where they were going.
Out. Yeah.
I show up, they know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going boing, you know, 4 feet in the air behind the fence. And the fence is electrified. Keep these dogs in.
Oh, wow. They're just anxious, ready to run.
They just want to go.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
And the Jag, is it Jag Terrier? I'm sorry.
Beagle. Jagd beagle.
Jag.
It's Jagd Beagle.
Yeah. There you go. JADG is Jagd in German.
J-A-D-G.
Jagd means hunter in German.
Okay.
Okay.
Jagd.
Beagle, because of the nose.
Right.
Jagd beagle.
And like, what's the origin behind the Jagd?
It was a German
Beagle.
hunting terrier that they didn't have a hunting terrier back in the the early 1900s, and they were kind of felt left out. You know, the Brits had one. You know, everybody had a hunting terrier for hunting rabbits and wild boar, and the Germans didn't have one, and they developed one. And it came to fruition about 1939, and then World War II hit, and it kind of disappeared. And then it reappeared in the late 50s or whatever. I'm not sure about when it reappeared, but 1 or 2 of them came to the United States, some went to Canada, and they started, you know, becoming a breed over here for hunting wild boar and nutria You know, it evolved into a real strong drive hunting dog. And it's a certain person that can deal with it. Most people can't.
High energy,
Unbelievable.
wiry. Like I see those dogs, and it reminds me of a Jack Russell Terrier. I'll pull one up here.
Yeah, like on steroids.
Yeah, like they're smart and they're mischievous. They are like they're almost too smart for their own good, right? Like
they're smart. They're smarter than a Jack Russell, in my opinion, and they're more tenacious.
Okay. And they're bigger too, right?
Slightly bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
How smart are those birds compared to the dog?
Oh, those birds are incredibly smart. Don't ever second guess them. They're 2 weeks ahead of us brain wise. They don't ever forget anything. I can take my bird to any place she's hunted before, and she'll go to the trees that she knows. She knows the area. They know what they know last year. It's all filed back in their hard drive, and they remember everything from it that we did last year, and it's continued on to the next year. It's incredible. They know each dog. They know each dog's bark. They know who to pay attention to and who not to pay attention to, who's bullshitting on the bark. It's phenomenal. They know me. They know you. They know you're not a threat if I'm here. They're incredibly smart.
You mentioned that they remember even the tree branches that they...
Oh, the trees, yeah.
Like they know the tree, they get the best view. They know the tree that gives them the best angle, the best attack lane or whatever.
Yep.
Like they kind of will revert back to certain areas because they're comfortable or they're familiar, right?
Oh, I'll put my bird up at one place. I go over at Point McKenzie, and she'll go to the same tree.
Oh,
She'll
really?
sit up there.
When you
and
park the truck and jump out, she
Oh,
goes up
yeah.
there.
When I get to a hunting area, she's ready to go. She's just got to get out of her box, and she's got let her go. Because when I arrive there, those rabbits are moving away. So game on.
Oh, right, because they hear you, the scent, everything, they kind of push out.
Oh, they're gone. They're moving. Or they're holding tight. And when those dogs come out, I mean, I've had her scream at me from the top of a tree to let those dogs loose quicker. And the dogs are all lit up with their GPS collars. It's all tuned in and dialed in before I get there. I'll pull over, fire everybody up, and then go to the hunting area. So when I get there, I let
Open
her
the
go,
doors.
and out go the dogs. And it's game on.
Wow.
I had a gal, Kelly Benedict, another falconer. She's up in the valley. She got a nice red tail out of Minnesota this last winter. And she's like, so you get here and you just turn the bird loose and let the dogs out and then stand back? I said, yeah, I guess that's about it. She goes, that's the damnedest thing I ever seen. And she's a master falconer, and she was commenting on how, I mean, probably 10 minutes later, we had a rabbit. She's like, damn. I said, dogs. Got to have dogs.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Flush those rabbits out.
You ever go hunting with a pheasants without a dog?
Oh, it sucks. I've thrown a lot of dirt cubes, shit breaking from farm field into the little roads. It sucks.
It
Trying
sucks.
to flush a bird out and
they ain't coming out.
No, you got to chase them to the end of the row and then have someone placed if you don't have a dog.
yeah.
It really sucks.
You want to go retrieve what a lab does in the water?
Oh yeah.
That'd suck even
You're not
worse.
swimming for a duck. Yeah. No.
Were you raised in the Midwest hunting pheasants? Probably.
No, I went to school at Washington State and I hunted every Saturday morning.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. WSU.
Oh yeah.
Pullman. Yeah.
Go Cougs.
Yeah. My son graduated from there.
Throw that
One of
in.
my sons. Yeah. It's pheasant hunting country there.
It is. It's nice.
You know where to go and the farmers to go with. Good stuff.
Yeah, the crazy part was you go out to those farms and like, yeah, you can hunt my field, but you got to kill a doe this year. If you don't kill a doe this year, you can't come back next year. I guess I'll come out and kill a doe.
I'll be back.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, wow.
Oh, really? You're going to invite me back to kill deer? I'll be back.
Yeah.
But you got to kill one.
Yeah.
I'm watching you, boy.
So you said earlier there's maybe 5 falconers.
Yeah,
in
I
Alaska?
can name them. There's Don Hunley, Tim Sell, Tyler Dent, and myself. And Lane Crow has a bird, hasn't hunted, but Dr. Crow, that's 5 here in Anchorage. Eric Fontaine is another one. I don't know Eric real well. He didn't hunt last year. And there's Bennett Wong up in Fairbanks. He hunts with peregrines, falcons, and he has a gyr falcon. And his season is 1 month long. So he's quick and dirty, and he's done.
All his work for just 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It gets too cold, and the birds migrate out.
Is he hunting waterfowl?
Yeah, he's hunting ducks at
Okay.
at Creamer's Field.
Oh, okay. That's why he's hunting like August, September.
Yeah, whenever September opens, September 1st, it opens up, and then he got a sandhill crane last year.
Wow.
With a falcon?
Yeah, and it was a game on run. Once you hit one of those big things, you knock them down. I don't know the details of it, but it was pretty exciting. Tim Sell.
They're a giant bird. If anybody's ever seen a crane in person, they're massive.
Yeah,
we've got a couple of them.
They've got nasty teeth too.
Yeah, they're really good eating too.
Yes, they are.
Don't bring your lab to fetch it.
Pardon?
Don't bring your lab to fetch it.
It'll get after it.
Oh, they like sit back on the haunches and try to spear them, and it's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
What are they called? They're called the
They're called the filet mignon of the skies.
That's it.
It's the best.
That's it.
I want to get one this year. It's like beef. Not with a bird, but maybe a gun or something. But
yeah, I see like several 100,000 every year where I go moose hunting, but we never get a chance to shoot.
Do you guys follow Meat Eater?
Oh yeah.
Oh, big time.
He just had one on that he on TV and on Netflix, and he had sandhill cranes. Sandhill cranes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And they were going like, "This is not bird. This is not fowl."
It's like beef steak.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah, the way it's red and thick and
my neighbor ended up getting one years ago.
Oh, really?
And we had it.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I didn't know that you could actually
harvest them.
Yeah. I was like, were you allowed to shoot this thing?
Yeah.
It was massive.
Yeah, that's like
it was massive.
It's the best.
Yeah, and like I think there's like certain permits for swans too, and I think that's kind of like it's probably more like goose.
Yeah,
probably more like. But
well, Tim Sell, his Siberian goshawk has killed 169 lesser Canadians right here in town over an 8-year period.
Wow.
And
those are big birds too. I mean, that's going to be as big or bigger than the hawk itself.
Oh, it's much bigger.
Much bigger, yeah.
Much bigger. And when he releases that hawk, he's on a dead run. He's 60 years old. He's on a flat dead run. You can't keep up with him. He's on a dead run because that bird is going to get one of those, and he's got to be there when it hits the ground because it'll
to try and find it.
It's usually in a field around the Lusac Library is where you'll find him sometimes.
Oh, okay.
The cemetery, all kinds of places like that where there's those lesser Canadians are in here till 1st of November.
Sure.
Then they're out of here. But he'll be hunting every day that his bird's on weight. And, because the family group will gang up on his hawk, and those geese have the knuckles on their wings, and they'll hit the hawk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a stand back and watch program. It's a participation.
But you need to get to it to get the other geese off of it.
Get the other geese off and subdue that geese.
Right.
Okay.
His bird is so good that she'll go right for the head, and it usually subdues them, but they still beat their wings.
Yeah, it's a big body bird, and it starts beating the shit out of everything.
Don Hunley's probably one of the premier falconers around here that's killed more friggin' rabbits than anybody except me.
Okay.
He's got me beat for sure, but he's hunting with goshawks, and I've red-tail hawks. Nobody's killed as many rabbits up here as I think that I have in the short time that I've been back with a red-tail hawk. She's pretty deadly, but I hunt a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
you
retired.
get out there. Yep.
You want to ask me how old I am?
Sure. How old are you, Mike?
How old do you think I am?
64.
66. Pretty close.
Oh, that's good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
At least I went on the lesser.
That's good call. You got the right.
I was definitely going to go below 65, but even though if I thought you were, I wasn't going to go over 65.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just but
I kind of guessed because you said your boys are in their 30s.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, and then you look great. You got a full head of hair. You're lively. You're out here running around chasing hawks and dogs, and I mean, that ain't easy, right?
Something to do, especially on snowshoes 2 months out of the year.
Oh man! If anybody's ever walked around in snowshoes, it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
It's really fucking hard.
There's nothing fun about it. Oh,
Not really.
I'm going to go snowshoeing today. Where? On the pavement. Oh, that's. Come with me.
Let's wrap this up with the trivia, huh, Jack? You still had that ready to go?
I had another question too, but let's go trivia mode because
Well, ask your question if
Trivia
you're gonna.
time.
Let's finish up with the trivia.
With Jack Lau.
All right, let me pull these.
Where's
up.
the music, dude?
Hold on, man.
Yeah, where's the music?
I got
No,
distracted. by the-
I know. We got to work on that, man. We got to work on our timing. We botched that one, didn't we?
It's all right.
We're working on that, Mike. We're trying to get a trivia segue thing going. There we go.
There
Yeah,
it
right
is.
on top
There
of
it is. All right, Jack. Have at
All
it,
right,
buddy.
man. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna throw down some raptor trivia tonight. All the questions are based around like falconry and stuff, and so we'll have Brandon and Daniel answer, and then we'll see if Mike can
reconfirm.
throw down the answer.
Okay.
I'm sure he can. These are all things that I looked
Don't
up
bet on
today,
it.
so
Okay.
I knew none of this. Although it was kind of like eerie a little bit, airy, which is the first question. What is in the term airy?
Irie.
Airy. Thank you. Airy. I thought that was like Game of Thrones esque. What's that term mean in falconry?
Irie.
Airy.
I feel like it has something to do with like the game chase. Am I even close?
I'm gonna say the focus of the bird. Like has to do something with how long a bird can be.
What you doing over there, Mike?
be
You gonna
released.
Pour up some more buffalo trace or what? Nice, dude.
I'm gonna say Irie
It's
is
trivia time.
There you go. The amount of time maybe a bird can be without its master until it becomes rewild. I don't know. That's my
Wow,
guess.
that's deep. And my, yeah.
That's another term for trivia. Rewild.
It happens by accident.
Oh, this is a good way to know that this is good whiskey. Is it's got a cork in it.
Oh,
that's
that's
how you know.
that's the sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's trivia.
All right. If you want to drink good bourbon, it's got to have a cork.
We got a connoisseur.
Okay.
What is Irie?
Irie.
You already had a chance.
Yeah,
No,
I
you don't.
kind of answered it. I mean,
Did you? Okay. What? All right.
What is it?
You know
Mike,
what it
you
is,
got
Mike?
it?
It's where they raise the young.
Oh.
It's their nest, Irie.
Yep, a raptor's nesting place, usually high up, such as on a cliff.
Oh, that's where I. Okay. Pause. Trivia. Hold that thought. Cliffs. Mike, I mentioned this when we met. I don't know if you remember this conversation.
I remember everything.
Okay. So my first introduction to anything falconry related was I went to this cool house back in the day. I was going to go rent it. The guy that owned the place said, there's tenants there. They're ready for you. They said, come on by. They're cool if you come check out the house. And then they're going to move out at the end of the month. They're headed back to Minnesota. I'm like, all right, cool. So me and my wife go over. We go look at the house. And I'm looking through the house. I'm like, oh, beautiful little place. And I keep seeing these little feather clumps all over the place. And I'm like, man, what the hell? You know, I don't say anything. Now we walk through the back door into the backyard. He's got a cage in the middle of the yard. It's maybe like 12 by 10 from the ground up. You know, it's a full a chain link fence style cage. And I'm like, what do you got going on here? He's like, oh, I'm into falconry. And I'm like, you mean like bird hunting falconry? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Well, where'd you get that bird? He's like, that's a great question. He chartered a boat on the Aleutian chain from like Dutch Harbor to some.
ADAC, probably.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, probably, but he goes to this.
Yeah.
He goes to this island, climbs up, and then rappels down during, I want to say the spring, maybe. I'm not sure, when they have their babies. So in other words, he got a special federal permit where he went out on this boat, flew from Anchorage, went out on this boat, climbed up this cliff, rappelled down to now pluck the baby bird out of the nest while the other birds are like diving bombing him and attacking him. He's wearing like leathers and he's got a helmet on and shit. And he plucks his baby falcon. I think it's a peregrine. Plucks his baby falcon from the cliff and then rappels down back to the boat. And then proceeds back to Bristol Bay, almost loses his life in a huge storm where the boat almost capsized and went through this like life-threatening process for this tiny baby bird. And he had this baby bird that was like, maybe like, it wasn't mature. I want to say like 6 months or a year. It was still small.
Yeah.
And then he brought it in the house and then it would, I guess, molt, right? Is that where the...
No, they were fledging out. That's
okay.
First year's a molt, but this was fledging.
Okay.
Yeah,
and so then I was like, wow, like you. So apparently it was really popular in the farm he grew up in Minnesota, where they bird hunted. And I'm thinking it's probably hawks or whatever. And his attraction to Alaska, he came up here to get a job at Costco just to go get this bird, then to go back to the farm where his dad was getting old and he needed to go back to the farm, but he wanted to make sure he brought back an Alaskan falcon.
Yeah, that's
And I was like, I mean, you know, we're all into some shit.
Yeah.
We all have a hobby. We all have something we love. But I'm like, man, what is possessing you to do some shit like that? Because that is like next level insanity. And I thought, you know what, man, that's...
Yeah, that's an Aleutian peregrine.
Okay.
A Peel's peregrine. And
Yeah.
they're
It was a cute little bird just hopping around the house and doing his thing.
they're cute. They're like a heavyweight and a middleweight body.
Oh, okay.
Size-wise.
Okay.
So
He said they were like, their speed, man, it was like 80 miles an hour or something. Like they got some crazy speed.
But
when
here's the killer of those birds. They're out on a cliff over the water. They're hunting waterfowl. They not only got to hit it and bind to it, they got to take it somewhere to eat.
Oh, and they got to like try to fly it over something.
Yeah, and these are birds that are twice their size.
Oh, gotcha.
They got to steer it around and fly it back to dry land to eat it.
Wow.
And then somebody else is always going to rob them. The females rob the males because that's what goes on in the real world. And so this little guy's...
I'll take that.
This little guy's having a hell of a time of it. There's something else. And anyway, that's Peel's peregrine, Aleutian peregrine. Or
yeah, when you said the cliff,
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I had a
to mention
peregrine
that,
story
yeah.
coming off the bench there down in Spencer Bench when we're coming off a ridge and it was super steep and it was just about like it was in the Alpine, but it was right before what are they, the dwarf hemlock start to show up, and my dog was with me because we're hunting a ptarmigan. And she jumped a ptarmigan, and I was kind of on an outcropping, and the ptarmigan kind of flew to the left, so I had to, kind of predict where it's coming out. And right when I was predicting where it's coming out, on my left shoulder, a peregrine falcon came and just nailed it out of nowhere.
Yeah, so you're watching some good natural history there.
Oh yeah,
that's way cool.
That bird was watching my dog.
And I was going to ask that before, real quick, just quick. So the hawks and the natural birds of Alaska, they do hunt spruce grouse, ptarmigan.
Yes.
Small game birds. Yeah.
Yep.
Are they easy prey?
Are
they?
No.
Okay. They're smaller birds, so I wondered if
you got sharp-shin hawks that go up here, and they'll go after the small bird feeder birds, the
like
small
sparrows
birds.
And
everything like that. And you got merlins that go after all those birds too, and then you go up to a little bit bigger. You got peregrines, you got red tails, which are called harlins up here. They're black, but they're a subspecies of a red tail. And, they all go after their own stuff, and none of it's easy. And like I said, about 90% of the new hatchlings die in the first 6 months before January. They're gone.
Right. Low percentage.
And it's not easy. It's not easy.
Nothing's easy when it comes to that lifestyle.
No, and then it gets cold. The harlins migrate out. The tundra peregrines migrate out. You got some eagles that go find where the food sources are, and that's why we see so many of them around the canneries. And then you got... the merlins, I think, take off and leave. Sharpshins are hanging around. There's been some sightings of some of them just forgot to migrate or whatever. But go ahead to the next question.
All right. Yeah. So we got an easy one and then a hard one. So this one's easy because Mike mentioned it 3 times. So haggard. What is a haggard? It's a noun.
I was hearing him say it, and I was like, kind of.
We got any suspense music that you can put in? Like dun, 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 dun,
Just the trivia.
That's all we got. It's not
It's
suspenseful
pretty
at all.
good. It's pretty good. We made a joke about Harry Potter during it.
Yeah.
But
Man, he writes down everything. Look at those notes he's taking.
this isn't
he's
a note.
awesome.
I actually took this before we
Yeah,
met.
but right there.
What is
yeah,
haggard?
yeah.
I'm gonna say
Me when I wake up hungover.
yeah, haggard. Yeah, over a year old bird.
Haggard is oh man, I was paying attention when he was saying it and I forgot. Haggard is a
3, 2.
a bird that's like after the phase of the molting.
Well, that'd be over a year, right? Do you agree with him?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the together answer. What is it, Jack?
okay.
Yeah, an adult wild bird. A wild bird who's more than 12 months old.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
And
We were both
carries
right.
So I mean, I was
mature
trying to pick up on
plumage.
what I remember you said. Okay, so are we both right then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it carries
Dude.
adult plumage.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice
well.
work, guys. Okay.
Thanks,
Very
Jack.
good, very good.
All right.
This
Paying
one's going to
attention.
be super hard for them, I think.
All right,
but
good.
it's going
That
to be
was the
fun
easy
because
one?
this was the most
Yikes.
interesting.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to try to pronounce it. What is a yarok? What is yarok?
That is hard for him because we didn't talk
No.
about that.
Did he pronounce it right?
Yeah, Yarok.
Sounds German.
So Yarak.
Yarrick.
So this is just gonna be like pure guessing.
It was definitely the most interesting one when I read all the
Yarrick
terms from the
is
glossary.
Not gonna get it.
It seems hard.
Dude,
It's even hard for me to pronounce.
Yarrick.
It's not a Yarrick. It's like, what's Yarrick?
What is it?
Yarrick is a alpha bird in its family.
There we go.
Hey man, I threw it out there. I went for it. I fucking bombed it. I always do that. Give me some of that buffalo chase, baby.
You need more. Yeah, come up with a good answer.
Let me get a beverage, man.
Yarrick. I'm gonna say
No, it's not it.
is
piece of European furniture.
act of not eating the prey that is caught.
Nope.
It's a state of complete focus on the hunt, usually referring to accipiters.
Accipiters.
Accipiters. What is that?
That's goshawk.
Oh, goshawk. An Eastern term referencing when the bird's training weight and mental focus all comes together in the field. The hawk is riding the fist in anticipation of the hunt and is ready to go.
Yeah,
Which just
they're-
seem really cool
when
to be in Yarrick.
when they're in Yarrick, their heads going like this and they're looking
Ready to go.
looking everywhere.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
There you are.
So
tuned
Friday
in.
night about 9
I
p.m. Your Yarrick.
I think Yarrick is August 9th.
That's about 11:30.
August 9th
at like 8 o'clock, like right when you're getting
or maybe
to bed.
August 10th at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I think you're a little bit.
What else you
right.
got?
Well, I had those ones. I have more if we want, but we usually do three.
What are the things around their ankles called?
Bracelet.
Ankle bracelets.
Anklets.
Ankles.
What is the little pieces of rope that come off the ankles?
Tassels.
That's in a bar somewhere.
Hey man,
And they're not coming off their ankles.
I have no idea
That's
what that's
called
called.
jesses.
Jess. That's the
Oh,
Mexican
Jess?
yes. Jess.
Jess.
Well, Mike,
And let's see what else we got. One of the things when you were a kid, where'd you grow up? Here?
Yeah, I'm born and
How
raised.
about you?
here.
Yep.
Dang. How about you?
Oh yeah.
Man. So when you were young, did you look up at birds of prey? Did you ever? I mean, everybody's looked up at them.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I looked them up in the my books. They were dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a kid, like I went out. I was out a lot, but
I mean, when you saw a raptor, you stopped. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you just didn't.
Oh.
You just didn't see like a hawk that often, or
No.
or else you didn't know the difference. Now, did you see a crow all the time? Yes. Did you see an eagle all the time? Yes. Did you see a magpie or or a gray jay, a camp robber or whatever? Like, yeah, all the time. But like hawks and owls and these badass raptors, badass birds of prey.
well, the
just something-
F-22 is named the Raptor.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And I'm just saying, I just don't think you see. Maybe you saw them and you didn't know. I just don't. Are they really just all?
But you're
are
curious
they
about
out
them
there?
now. You're curious about them.
Oh, yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, big time. No, I mean now that I'm an adult and I go out in the woods and I hunt and I fish and I pay a lot of attention to
Everything.
bugs, birds. I mean everything. I pay attention to everything. I have more respect for everything out there. Like sometimes I can't even like squish a bug because I'm just like there's something about that bug that has some natural order and food source of shit. And like even as I get older, I'm like, you don't disrupt any of this stuff. Even though I go out and kill caribou and moose and all that stuff, but that's a managed program. But as a kid growing up, I didn't pay attention to that.
I think
I did.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
In southern West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was always looking up these red-tailed hawks. They were always soaring. They were always screaming.
Yeah.
And they're always sitting on telephone poles. And I actually, at 13, I made a project in school. My mom reminded me about it, and I made a falconry glove. And I did a falconry show and tell.
Oh.
And I almost forgot
Like a
about
report.
it. Yeah, but, you wonder how I got into falconry. Well, I met Don Hunley. He came in to buy bees from me in my garage. And my neighbor lady was standing there, and she says, "Oh, you're that hawk guy."
Oh yeah.
And she had done some rehab. She was in a rehab. She was a fish and wildlife biologist for the state of Alaska, and she retired, and she was doing rehab with birds down here at the rehab center off of Rabbit Creek, and as a volunteer. And I said, "You're a falconer?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, what's that all about? I mean, do you hunt with a raptor?" And he goes, "Yeah." "You want to go hunting?" I said, "Hell yeah." And the rule with us is that I'll take you hunting. I'll tell you where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be there. And if you're not there either 10 minutes early or on time, you're going to be standing in the parking lot wondering which way I went. Because I'm not waiting for you. Because why? What did I tell you?
Because
before?
you come ready
once
to
they're out of
go.
the truck,
I come
they're
ready
gone.
to go, and the rabbits are moving, and we got a certain amount of daylight up here, and we're burning daylight, and it gets serious when you only got 4 hours of useful daylight, and you're a fireman, and you just got off work, and you got everything else in your life going on, and that is the way it is with most all falconers. I'm not going to wait around for you. So anyway, I show up, and he says, "Dang," in the back of his brain, he's on time. So we go out, and a hawk kills a rabbit, or binds to the rabbit, and it's screaming like crazy. I said, "That is the coolest thing I've ever seen." He goes, "Really? This doesn't bother you?" I'm like, "No, I like it." He goes, "Not many people do." And I take people out, and I never see them again, most of the time,
Right.
more than not. And it was 10 years later before I got into this. And it took me that long to square it away in my brain because Don, what did he do? He's like, "You find a sponsor yet?" We'd talk on the phone because he and I hunted together and fished together. "You find a sponsor yet?" "No." "What are you doing?" "Nothing." What kind of game you got down there?" I said, "We don't have any rabbits, and I love rabbit hunting. I love it." And he goes, You got starlings?" I go, "Yeah." "Get a kestrel." "You got kestrels?" "Yeah, they're all over the place." Get a kestrel.
What is a kestrel?
It's a falcon, the smallest falcon in North America.
Oh, okay.
And he said, get a kestrel. I said, "No, I want a red tail." He goes, "Well, then go get a red tail, but you got to get a sponsor first." So, I called one guy, and he goes, "Yeah, you need dogs." I said, "I'm looking for a dog. I just can't find them." About a couple of years went by. Don's just slowly prodding me. "You'd make a good falconer." "Yeah, probably, but I don't know if I want to have that commitment because it is a lifestyle commitment." And he says, a year later, he says, "You ought to call this guy." So I call him. He says, yeah, I'll sponsor you if you get a dog. I said, well, been looking for a dog for 3 years. I can't find any beagles around here. He goes, I know where there's a dog. And that's when he turned me on to Justin. So about 3 days later, Justin calls me up and he goes, the beagle that was giant got teared up Steve Lehman's bike. And I was like, what the hell did you just say? And I said, slow down so I can understand it. I'm from West Virginia. You know, I talk slow and I think slow and I hear slow. So he slows it down to, you know, slightly slower than the speed of sound. And I could understand him. And he's come on over tomorrow morning for breakfast. I don't even know the guy. He lives a mile away from me. He's got 60 breeding pair of hawks in his backyard.
Wow. And he's just under your nose the whole time?
Right there. But I had to go to Steve Lehman to find him, you know, and then Steve sponsored me. And so it was kind of difficult. It's not easy finding a sponsor because most of them have certain criteria that they want you to meet prior to meeting. But, what was it? Let's see. Hunley called him up and says, hey, you ought to sponsor this guy. I'll tell him to call you. So Hunley told me to call Lehman. Lehman sponsored me over the phone. I never saw the guy for a year. Usually you're hunting with the guy all the time. I'm out there flogging around by myself with Hunley in one ear, Lehman in another, and Justin doesn't want anything to do with me. You know, because he's got two businesses that he's running. And, you know, finally put it all together. Mostly. I'm still learning.
Wow.
It's probably a lifetime of learning.
Oh, man, it's like beekeeping.
Yeah.
So, wait, neither one of these guys really came afield with you?
Lehman didn't. Lehman came afield with me on my second bird ruby because I was killing so goddamn much game, he couldn't believe it.
So he wanted to see it for himself?
I killed a triple when he came in.
Oh, so he was like, okay, all right. You're a real deal.
Yeah. I killed more rabbits than anybody in Washington that year.
Wow.
With a red tail, which is people were hunting with goshawks and Harris hawks, you know, got more rabbits, but not a red tail.
And
so it's pretty.
Is the red tail more like clunky and just not going to be as?
It's the Chevy truck. If you want to say, you know, something that's not.
It's not the Ferrari or the.
No,
it's
not.
the
Goshawks are Ferrari.
Yeah.
The Harris Hawks, you know, they're real social.
The red tail is the utility.
Yeah, it's the utility version. If you can get a lot out of a red tail, you're doing something.
Working.
Yeah, man, we worked. We worked.
Anyway,
cool. That's where it all came from. That's how I got here.
Okay, interesting.
Wow. I'm still learning.
Still learning. I bet it's
never ending.
Yeah,
never ending.
Yeah. Mike, we hit 3 hours. That was a lot of info.
The TV shut off.
The TV shut off. So
well, my computer died actually.
Oh, your computer died.
I've actually never hooked. I'm bringing it here charged every time.
I hope it works out for you. You know, get some viewers.
Mine didn't die, so we're good.
Yeah, well, you're just plugged in. No, damn. Mike, this was great, and I spoke very highly of you. I hyped you up. I was like, man, this guy is very interesting. I only met you. Well, actually,
3 months ago at the most.
Yeah, but we hung out for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
you came in at 4 o'clock for the estimate on your truck, and you went home at like 7:30.
No way.
Yeah, remember it was locked and dark, and my office was the only.
The Buffalo Trace came out.
The dinner was cold.
Hey, I was like, you need to come on our podcast. Like, you need to come on.
That's where it got going even more.
Yeah.
What podcast? Because I was thinking about trying to get Lehman on a podcast that I would be on. But
was that your buddy you were talking about? Because you said you had a buddy that you wanted to bring on all along.
Well, we want his knowledge to be recorded out there.
Okay.
Got it.
Awesome.
Nothing says we can't follow up on this and have him part of this.
Yeah. He'll be up here in September.
So on that note, before we go, because we're gonna probably get to the point of wrapping this up, but you have a second annual
Ice Hawkers meet.
So break that down real quick. What do you got going on there?
Guys hunting.
Okay.
An
organized event.
It's an organized event. It'll be taking place September 30th through October 3rd at Sheep Mountain Lodge, where there's a lot of snowshoe hares, and I hope we get a bunch of people up there with their hawks. There's a few of us here that have hawks that are going to be up there. Tim Sell will be there. Don Hunley, in between bear hunting and moose hunting, hopefully he'll be up there. He's a guide. Some guys from Fairbanks we hope come down. I know one of them will. Probably Bennett Wong and Randall Compton, which is his sponsor, which is a world-renowned artist, Alaskan artist. I mean, the guy's unbelievable art that he puts out. It's hanging in museums. It's good. And some other guys from Fairbanks, and then there'll be the lodge there will have awards for taking game each day or who took the most game, and some awards for the previous year, last season, awards for taking game, different awards, like March hares, which are really hard to get because they're the haggard hares. They're the survivors.
Yeah.
These things are flat out friggin' fast. They have eluded eagles, owls, foxes, coyotes,
The survivors.
lynx, the survivors. So you catch one of those, you got a trophy.
Got it.
Wow.
And there's food at the lodge. There's great lodging, warm, hot showers right there in your rooms. It's clean. The scenery's unsurpassed.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, that
there.
time of year, man. And you get the snow-capped mountains.
Oh, man. And it's no snow, but the rabbits are white.
Yeah.
So we're kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that area up there. That's what we were talking about, Daniel, that Grandview area.
Yeah.
It's just
Grandview, Glacier View.
Glacier View. Yeah.
That's beautiful. all in
We
there.
hunt there. I got permission on a lot of property there. I got permission on everybody up there that'll let us hunt on their property, and I go everywhere. So at Meekin's Runway, we hunt there.
Yeah, Meekin's. Yeah.
He knows us. We know Mike. He, great. You guys come in and hunt, no problem. And we inundate the place with last year we had 26 people there, which is a lot. Not all of them were falconers. A lot of them were people that just look up at the sky and see raptors and want to know what this is all about. So it'll be good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, what's that called again?
The second annual Ice Hawkers
Ice Hawkers.
event. Well, we call ourselves dirt hawkers, incipiters and red tails. We hunt stuff that's on the ground.
Yeah.
And then you got the peregrine. Those are the long winger guys. See,
Yeah.
we're broad wing, they're long wing. We're in
Yeah.
the forest in the trees. They're up in the sky.
Yeah.
And we'll have some long wingers there also that hopefully we'll have some demonstrations of lure flying and all kinds of stuff going on, just so that people can get a look into the dark side of falconry, and then the elitists, and it's kind of a fight, a joke between the two different groups, long wingers, and
Friendly competition.
Oh,
right?
it's just great fun. We just rub each other all kinds of different ways.
That's great. That's great.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. 'Cause
It'll be a great event. I mean, anybody's welcome to come, and there's rooms galore. It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome up there.
That's a Sheep Mountain Lodge.
Yeah,
Right
Sheep
on.
Mountain Lodge.
And what are the dates on that one more time?
It's September 30th through October 3rd, and there's helicopter flying out of there for flight seeing on the glaciers and the mountains and the sheep and the moose.
That's cool.
At a reasonable price, and there's good food and booze and beer and wine and you name
Buffalo
it.
Trace.
Buffalo Trace might appear, might appear. Probably have a run on the market after this podcast next Monday.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
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 I'm going to have to get
Be
a new
on there.
sponsor up in here.
I'm the sponsor.
Well, thanks for coming out, Mike.
Hey,
We
man.
appreciate you giving us knowledge on the falconry and the beekeeping and the dogs.
We went
and all
for
that.
like an hour and 20 minutes on the beekeeping
Yeah, man.
alone,
That was a
man.
real.
Yeah, you can tell what he's
rabbit hole.
interested in.
You didn't even mention that when we met, man. You didn't even mention any of that when we met. So that
There's
was all
more. We
good.
didn't even talk about flying the bush for.
Oh man.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
we can.
well, that's for the after hours of at the ice hawkers.
Not the Bush Company. The
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Got me excited there for
The
a second.
180.
Yeah,
the 180.
The 180. Yeah. Well, it's at Mike Radford on Instagram, and thank you for listening, guys. AlaskaWildProject.com for all of our merch. Patreon.com/Alaska Wild Project to support this podcast. $5 a month goes a long way.
Heather's Choice, 15% off.
Alaska Wild is the promo code for that, and also promoting the Coho Rodeo Saturday, August 7th. Thank you for listening, guys, and good luck out in the field, and get outside and have fun. Thank you.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance company, providing services such as weekly lawn maintenance, driveway sweeping, snow and ice management, and tons more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located at 4th Avenue across from the old 4th Avenue Theater. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. From reindeer dogs to bomb euros, they've got you covered. Anchortown Dogs, your local gourmet hot dog and sausage cart.
Menegato's Accounting, locally owned and operated advisory and tax accounting solutions. Passion, experience, diligence. Learn more at menegatosaccounting.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made cider. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out at doubleshovelcider.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.